Come on. There we go.
Come through on this.
Discord, let's have a peek. No.
That's everyone. Hi, actual sex gods.
There we go. Oh, that's a nice little post, boys. That's a nice little post.
Gone to over 600 people. I'm like, yes,
that's the whole point.
What a stupid question.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Beers and Bullshit, episode 3. You are joined today by myself, Ben, Poshman Chav, and the absolutely adorable Halfordsucks. Char, go ahead and say hello.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. If anyone that's in the Facebook stream, you would have seen me finish like less than an hour ago. But we back, man, because I can't get enough of being full of myself on camera. Because look at me, I am walking sex. So we was racking our brains of what we was going to cover today, and the initial plan was mental health, because a lot of people have asked for that one. Mine and Ben have had a lot of requests for that. But instead, we decided to go for the journey of Halfordsucks as an individual, as me, as a brand, so far at least, and where it's going to progress to in the future, like any future plans we sort of have. We're going to get Ben to chime in. He's been here from the start for me, and blah, blah, blah. There is going to be a mental health podcast going up because it is so far the most requested thing we've had. However, in terms of that, what we're going to do is we're going to pre-record that tomorrow night, and we're going to go through and timestamp it and give it like a little contents at the beginning, just so that basically if we cover any particularly touchy subjects or anything, we can stamp that, timestamp it, so that if there is anyone that wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable listening to that, they can just skip that through to that timestamp. In terms of like strategies for the podcast, we've had a discussion, and a lot of people have... we've had some incredibly positive feedback, It's incredible. This was like, we started this as a joke, like spur of the minute, 5 minutes before the first one. And the feedback has been insane. A lot of people are really enjoying it, but also a lot of people are watching it back afterwards. So for that reason, to keep the fluidity, potentially uploading these to Spotify in the near future, it's something that we're looking to do. And we aren't necessarily going to read chat, and if we do, it's going to be probably more towards the end. Just to keep the fluidity of the podcast, because anyone that's obviously not watching it live won't make much sense to, and it will very much throw the whole balance of the podcast off. Anything you want to add there, Ben?
Not particularly, but yes, the mental health one is in the works. I can promise that. And as Char said, I am more than happy with the feedback we've been getting from this. This blows my mind. It doesn't necessarily blow his mind as much because, you know, he sits there behind a screen with hundreds of people watching him every day. But as someone who's very rarely streaming and then comes along to sit on a podcast and chat absolute bollocks, it doesn't half blow my mind to have people, one, sit there and listen to us, but two, sit there and willingly listen to the entire thing.
It's not
to me, that's
insane.
And then people to come back and say, that was great, I'd love to see more. Can you talk about X?
Yeah, it's crazy.
To me, it's insane.
It's absolutely crazy because, like, I know I cannot stress enough that when we first started the podcast, it was very much Ben and I was sitting there talking. I can't even remember what the initial topic of the conversation was, but it was along the lines of some fucking shit.
I know. The initial conversation of the topic was what fan should I buy for my computer?
Yeah.
So that really shows you
the tangents that we go on, thought, and I think that really proves why the podcast is such a like natural thing to us, because it goes from one topic of pure fucking irrelevant bullshit to another, and it's great. It's very fluid. It feels very natural.
Yeah. Because if there's one thing we're good at, if there's one thing that school's taught us, it's how to chat absolute bollocks and get away with it.
I mean, yeah, there is that. There is that. What do you guys think about the new logo up in the top there? This is gonna be changed ever so slightly because we've had a discussion, and just to keep kind of some consistency, because I'm not gonna lie to you, neither of us are drinking beer tonight. We're both drinking whiskey. We are going to probably change it up and call it Booze and Bullshit instead as a little rebrand. It's not going to be much of a difference. Might change the logo ever so slightly. This is only a mock anyway, just to get the first ones up, but, regardless. So I think we're ready to kick off, Ben. Are you?
I believe so. So, initial question. Obviously, this.
Or do you want to start with what we're going to cover properly? Like, break it into a bit of depth, why you decided this topic was going to be good.
Yeah, okay. I can break it. I can try and break it down as much as it is. So obviously we put out that post. You put out that post a while ago, basically saying, hey, to everyone who is enjoying the podcast, what would you guys want to hear more of? Obviously, mental health, that is coming. And one of the other ones that I saw was sort of behind the scenes stuff. I thought that was interesting, but I thought a lot of people haven't been following you. Sorry. A lot of people who are following you now weren't necessarily following you from the absolute beginning. And I think it would be interesting for a lot of people to have an insight into that first, initial year of streaming and all the thought processes you went through, everything that happened and how you kept motivated to keep going through those, maybe the lower periods. I mean, especially when Facebook reach just decided to absolutely shaft you as a streamer, things like that. So, I thought, because I quite like reliving this story. Yeah, I've been here for a while, but I quite enjoy it. It's been a journey for me as well, despite the fact that I haven't necessarily been there 24/7. I like to think I've had a hand in some of it.
Some of it would be an understatement. Can we just start by saying currently where you're at on your streaming journey? Because for anyone that doesn't know, Ben has recently started streaming on Twitch, despite me telling him not to stream on Twitch. He has recently started there, twitch.tv/poshmanchav. Here we go, the burps begin. And I want to get an idea of where you're at on your journey at the moment, because you're maybe 2-3 months deep into just doing dabbling a little bit in part-time streaming.
It's dabbling occasionally. I'm sitting there, I'm playing a video game, and I'm thinking, yeah, sure, why not? Let's stream this. Let's see who's there. And so far, my audience is okay. Well, if I'm entirely honest, my solid audience right now is my mum and my sister that chime in occasionally and watch it on the TV downstairs. But I have a few more regulars which I've kind of sniped from other people's streams when they realised that my internet was better quality. But I have a few regulars that I know, but again, most of them are friends right now. I've had a couple of people come in that are complete randoms, and they'll have a chat with me. And to me, having that one person in the stream who's happy to just sit there and not necessarily even follow, just chat, to me is insane. So I am still incredibly early into that streaming stage. I'm not partnered or whatever the version is for Twitch that it is for Facebook. Just that initial one. Incredibly early on. I haven't got any of the solid graphics down or anything. Your stream, incredibly refined now in terms of alerts. I don't know about that in a minute. We'll call it
work in progress.
Yeah, but I haven't got any of that down at this point. It's very bare bones, and it's more of a hobby. But thinking back to it, I want to say yours started with very much a hobby as well. Very much, well, I'm not sure how many people know the initial story of why you started, but
I've touched on it a couple of times in stream. And I think what's really easy to forget is that at some point we all start currently where Ben is. We all sit there with our friends and our mums watching us, and it's an incredible experience having that, and going from having one viewer, which was normally Pud, to having hundreds to upwards of over 1,000 at any one time in chat. And it's an incredible feeling. But I think a lot of people that, especially recent, within the last few months to the channel, don't realise that I did start there, because it's really easy to remember. It's really easy to forget, should I say, that when you look at these big streamers, and I'm thinking Nick Merckx, and I'm talking about the people that sit at consistent thousands and thousands of viewers. It's really easy to forget the fact that they did start from nowhere. And as far as I'm concerned, I have made progress, but ultimately I'm still nothing. I'm still a very, very fucking small fish in a very, very big pond. There are hundreds of thousands of people trying to make it in streaming, and it will maybe be 1% that can ever make a living to a point where they can actually quit their job and say, I'm full-time streamer now. And I've been fortunate enough to get to that point. I guess this is going to be like a story of how this started, I guess. So, for anyone that doesn't know, I used to be a competitive BMX rider. I used to ride bikes, not for money or for anything like that, mostly for fun. Ben and I used to bunk off school quite a lot. We would go down to the local skate park from our school. I would ride my bike, he would skate. And it was basically that would be what our physics lesson should have been. That and smoking a shit ton of cigarettes. And I was invested in my bike. It meant fucking everything to me. I ripped off all of my GCSEs. I didn't do a single ounce of revision because I was like, study leave, more like bike time, bitches. And it was, I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't. It was an incredible experience. I really did enjoy every fucking minute of it. But it kind of progressed on. I competed at the Worlds a few years ago, at a festival and the BMX Worlds, which is an incredible experience. It was kind of my, and I'm going to say this because I can kind of compare that to streaming. It was my first kind of time in the limelight, if that makes sense. There was a few thousand people watching, cameras everywhere. It was being broadcast, and that to me was a bizarre feeling. It was like I'd never been on camera other than like when we was recording clips for Instagram. About it. And so it was like,
I'd like to point out that you're quite the boisterous character. You say you're quite a loud character. You're not afraid of being on camera necessarily. You're not afraid of making a fool of yourself. But it does, to coin the term, I want to, get in with the cool kids. It really hits different. There you go. That's for all of you cool kids down there. I think, as you've explained to me, it does hit different with BMX, as well, where you'd be happy to sit there and film a little bit on a phone, upload it to Instagram. You got your mates following it, and then suddenly,
it's a weird experience seeing yourself on camera. Like even now, looking at myself like this is strange to me. It really is. Like normally, at least when I'm streaming, I don't see myself, and I'm finding myself just staring at me on my screen, like I look like a lemon. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but it's a really interesting thing. Like I competed at the Worlds and I kept up a career, not like a career. I'd made like a little bit of money from like sponsorships and the odd actual posts that had maybe been paid for, or like some prize money. It was never a lot. It was never ever going to be a living for me. And I never wanted it to be a living. I always liked the idea that BMX was an escape for me. It was a way for me to take a step back and say, this is my safe place. It was very dangerous, admittedly. So the logic behind that was perhaps flawed, but the the idea of like I rode because it was my life, and I worked fund riding because it was my life. That was what my life was. And in 2019, was it what year did I start streaming? Yeah, 2019. I broke my leg.
Yeah.
And it was in July because it was about a week before my mum's birthday. I'd been working flat out at work for about 4 weeks straight. Hadn't taken a day off in ages. Trained up a couple of new blokes, and I went, fuck this. I went, boss, I need a day. I need some time off. And I'm taking the rest of the week off. And it was on a Wednesday, and I remember it so specifically. And so I was like, right, I'm taking off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And he was like, yeah, bet. Wednesday night, went out. Got a bit greedy. I was like, I had 4 days to ride. I was like, I'm going to go ride Wednesday night. Picked up a friend of mine, went to the skate park, got out the car, put my keys on the bench, went over about 4 ramps before I did something. And to anyone that doesn't know what BMX is, I did a tire slide. It's basically like the equivalent to you walking up a flight of stairs. It's a pretty normal thing to do. It was a normal thing for me to do. And as I did it, I just remember looking at my hand and it came off, and I went, oh, I'm going to go on my face and this is going to fucking hurt, man. That was what went through my head. And then I just remember going fucking flat on the floor, rolling over. And I was like, well, my face feels okay. Like, I don't feel like I've broken my nose again. Like, I should be big vibing. And I rolled over to stand up. And like, I was genuinely sort of hurt over. Like, like if you've gone arse over tit a little bit and landed on your back. you have that kind of pain throughout you. I felt a bit like that until I rolled over and put my foot down and like foot's here, leg goes here, foot hits floor and leg goes that way. And I was like, that's a fucked ankle if I've ever seen one. And which was not the most pleasant thing, seeing your leg more or less completely unattached from your foot. So, I mean, there's a whole story behind that. We can maybe cover that another day. I won't go too in-depth into that. But I spent 3 months off of work. And I was addicted at this time to Fortnite and Minecraft.
But sorry, can I just bring up a point that before that, video games were like nothing in your life? Because I remember you saying, yeah, but even then, I swear it was rare that you'd even bother, because it would be like, right, get home, think about doing homework, sod that off, skate park.
Bikes, yeah.
Yeah.
Games to me were very much like winter activities, because it would be either too cold or too wet to ride. And my life, even in winter, was riding. We'd travel across the country to go to an inside skate park just to escape the rain and the fucking snow. And it's like, we've just driven 4 hours to get to a skate park to ride for 2 hours just to get our fix of riding for the day. Or we'd go to like a shopping centre car park and we'd just ride in this underground car park. And we would do that for hours. I mean, fucking hours. Ben came with us a couple of times as well. Like, anyone that's been to Blue Water, that's maybe like 45 minutes away from us. We would go to Blue Water car park and we would ride in Blue Water car park until we got kicked out. And it was like, well, who gives a fuck, really? And I think we only ever got kicked out once.
Did I ever tell you, when I used to skateboard with my mate, we got kicked out of my old primary school?
Oh, God, I was about to say the place, but not.
Yeah, no, we just got bored. We were like, because around me there is nowhere to ride. And I thought, it's school holidays. That looks nice and flat and nice, like, because most of England's pavements are shit. So I was like, that looks nice and flat. So we rode around there, and suddenly the like, not groundskeeper, what's the English word for that?
Groundsman.
Yeah, that one. Whatever. He comes out. He comes storming out the gate. What are you two doing here? Fuck off! This isn't a skate park. We were like, all right, fucking hell, mate.
Get their pants and ran away.
Yeah, basically, we were.
I don't know. Like, where I spent 3 months off, and I in the days I would religiously play Minecraft. Like, I couldn't really move, so I was basically bedbound. It took me 5 weeks to walk, and basically in the time that I spent at home, it was like PlayStation setup, Minecraft. My world was sick as fuck. It was so cool. I'm actually scared to think how many hours I invested into that, because for about 2 months it was about 10 hours a day. And then when I went back to work, I decided I hate my job. I hated my job anyway. I already fucking knew that. But I had gone back to work and I was like, I really don't want to fucking be here. And I was like, I need something, because I was actually too scared to ride my bike. And it was the first ever time I'd been scared to get on and pedal. Because after years and years of injuries, I've broken like at least half the bones in my body, and most of them twice. It was the only one that had ever sort of made me sit back and go, oh, fuck. Do you know what I mean? It was like, that's fucking scary shit. And are you reading chat, Ben?
Yeah, no, I know. I was going to respond to it when I had a moment. Yes, chat, I understand. And also, fuck you. Yeah, no, it's not my fault. It's the ceiling light. I recently replaced it and I'm regretting my choices massively.
If the podcast keeps going well, we'll get Ben some proper lights. How about that? But it was like the first ever time I'd actually been scared to ride my bike. And I remember having this conversation with Ben. We went to, I think he was resitting sixth form or a year of sixth form at this point.
Knowing me, yeah.
Well, you would have been in year 13 when, in theory, you should have left, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah.
And because I was working full time at that point. And so I had 3 months off of work, and I remember talking to Ben one night, going, I've never been scared to, like, never. It was the first time that I'd actually thought, holy shit, I'm not invincible. And everyone for a fucking so long had always said to me, Charles, you should try streaming. I'm like, nah. I just like if I'm playing games, I just enjoy playing it like on my own, innit? And everyone's like, no, Char, honestly, like, you're good at the game, you're pretty funny. Like, why not? Just fucking try it. And I'm like, no, if I'm gonna do anything like that, I want to make YouTube videos. And the origin behind the original skull logo, the skull logo that it's iconic to Halfordsucks. The origin to that is I wanted to start a BMX YouTube channel. However long, and I'm talking like 4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
That was what that logo I made for. I drew that up and I sent it to my tattoo artist, and he did a digital version, and it's just stuck. It was my Instagram picture for ages, and I never used it because the BMX thing never happened because I couldn't afford cameras. And then realised that I don't know how to edit a video, and so that never went ahead. And it, things happened, things changed, and it was like, that's cool, blah blah blah. And then it was like, I'm gonna start a page, and I started a page on Facebook at like midnight on the 25th of October, 2019, and I rung Pud up, and I went, Pud, I've done it. He went, what? I went, I've started a Facebook page. I went, you're an admin on it. And he went, for what? I went, for streaming. He went, no shit. Because Pud was one of the people that always pushed me to try and do it. And I was just like, nah, you're fucking talking shit. I'm boring. Like, why would anyone want to watch me play a game and talk bollocks? And now I'm not even playing a game. I'm just talking bollocks and people watching. Look
at us now. Fucking hell.
And so, like, we started off and we had a core sort of friendship group. So it was me and Pud that kind of ran the page. Not that there was much to run at that point. It was basically put a post up once a day and go live whenever I could. I was still pretty consistent back then though. It'd be like, I worked a lot. I would do a lot of overtime, and then I kind of gave up on overtime. I was like, fuck you. If you're gonna make me walk up and down ladders and shit when I can't even walk up and down stairs because of my fucking leg, you can go fuck yourself. So I stopped signing up for overtime. I just basically told them to suck my penis. And we just started putting more time into streaming. It was like I'd do 3 hours a night. I'd work 7 till 4. I'd come home. I'd have a bit of grub, have a shower because I'd be covered in shit. Half the time it was literal shit from cutting grass. Yeah. And then at 6 o'clock every night I'd go live. And the only night I ever took off was Friday nights, because still to this day, Fridays are the worst days for me. Worst in viewers. And that was the only night I'd ever take off, unless I did have to commit to a work thing, and then I'd do that. Which was seldom, like pretty few and far between, because I managed to wrangle myself. You're making a cripple do work, like what? So, the classic old guilt trip to get out of work.
Yeah, I was about to say, play the pity card, get you anywhere.
Listen, all I'm saying is it worked. Look where I am now.
Yeah.
And for like the first 2 months, well, maybe the first month or two, Pud and I spent countless hours off stream at work. I mean, our actual jobs kind of just, we didn't work together. We would just sit there on Facebook all day, watching other streamers, figuring out what they do well, figuring out what would help in the algorithms, thinking about what would do this, what would do that, why would we do this when we could do that, or vice versa, blah, 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 blah. We invested countless, and I mean countless hours to it, right? And got fucking nowhere. And then a revelation stuck. I keep disappearing on my mic. Okay. And then a revelation struck. Sorry, I'm here. And that was, we're playing a game that is incredibly oversaturated. We was playing Fortnite. Now, a lot of people hate on Fortnite, especially like older gamers.
That'll be me, 47, and I can't stick the game.
47, 5 kids, and just playing child support as little as possible. And that was what we was playing at the time. But also, every little fucking hotshot kid that thought he could start streaming was playing Fortnite as well. And I think the highest we ever peaked was about 8 people. And I can guarantee I probably knew all 8 people by name in the chat, and I'd known them in real life as well. Maybe bar 1 or 2. And then we started getting randoms come in, like people that we didn't know. And I mean, when I say some, I mean, it was so few that it was incredible. But there was this one guy that found us, and I'll never forget, he was called Damien. And he was like early teens. He was a young kid, basically. He found us, and started watching the stream, started hanging out in the streams with us. And then from him came his cousin, his younger brother, and his sister. And they would, all 4 of them would watch the streams. They would come back every single fucking day. every single day, right? And it was incredible. Like, for me, there's something really weird about streaming where you can feel like you're going nowhere, but that one person that comes back every fucking day can be the difference between you having a shit day and to you having an incredible day. And it was really weird. And then we started, like, you know, the page started to grow a little bit. And I mean, like, by a little bit, I think we hit about 1,000 followers. We got a creator code. And then finally bought Modern Warfare and just started playing Modern Warfare multiplayer. And it was the best fucking change I ever did. We started doing that. We got into contact with this big streamer. We became really good friends with him. We went around his house. We got pissed. Became really good friends with him. It kind of fizzled out as a relationship with him, but I learned a lot from him, and I'm forever grateful for that. But the relationship just kind of died out because we went our separate ways, etc. But I learned a lot from him. We played a couple of other games together, like Dead by Daylight, things like that, which was interesting because I'd never played DBD.
Oh, I still need to rope you into a game of that at some point.
I know, I am fucking dreadful at it. I can't play mouse and keyboard, and I hate Xbox controllers. And they're the only two options you can have on playing on PC.
There's a workaround for that. But I won't go into technical details on a podcast because I don't think anyone really gives a shit on how to use a PS4 controller on Steam.
I'm not going to say who the streamer is, by the way. And, you know, we had a lot of fun. Like I said, relationship just sort of slowly fizzled out, and we recently actually got back in touch again. But it was a big learning curve for me. It was learning about how working with other people can be beneficial, but also can have negative impacts. Because streaming is a very original environment. If you stream and you're a small streamer and you take a big streamer's ideas, or even something remotely close, that shit will come back and bite you in the fucking arse. And this is why for a long time I wouldn't play with streamers. I wouldn't play with any other streamers. It was basically just Pud or Ben or Lewis or someone like that. I wouldn't play with other streamers because I was fucking petrified. Like, I'd been accused of stealing ideas before and being unoriginal, and that to me is like the worst thing you could possibly say to me. You can call me a cunt. You can tell me I look like Austin Powers. You can, I don't know, call me whatever it is that you fucking want. The one thing that will always ring out to me and piss me off and upset me is calling me unoriginal. Because I can tell you for a fact, and Ben has been here for a lot of these conversations, how many fucking hours I invest into just the idea side of this alone. Into making things different.
You'll ring me up and it'll be like, what, 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. You'll ring me up and you'll say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this with the stream or whatever. Or I'm thinking about doing this with the Facebook page or the YouTube page. What do you think? And we will then sit in a call until about 3-4 a.m. Yes, we will be drunk by the end of it. But the point is, the ideas still get talked about at the end of it, and it'll probably continue on into the next few days.
Yeah.
It's never been, oh, I've seen this streamer do this. I want to do exactly the same as him because it worked for him.
Yeah, we've had some fucking in-depth conversations about this. We really have. And I think people underestimate actually how much time goes into everything that happens on the page behind the scenes. You don't see the idea calls with like Ben, El, and Pud. You don't see the business calls that I have with companies that are like, "Oh, we want to partner with you," and I'm like, "Let me try your product," and they're like, "No, we just want to pay you," and I'm like, "I'm not doing it if I don't try it." Things like that. There's all this shit, right, that happens, and it's just like, oh man, I could really do without it today. Like, people forget that I don't just sit there and play a game. It's like there is a whole business side of it as well, like the admin. There's more admin and more business to anything else than I've ever done in my life in this, and I do most of it by myself. And so, yeah, to say when I wake up, I start work and I work until I fall asleep would be the understatement because my life is work. Yeah. But I think the most bizarre part about like the whole streaming thing was the big motivation for me was just these random people that I'd never met that would come into chat every single day. And it's like, really, like, who the fuck are you? Like, I don't even know who you are, but this is so cool to me. And that was massive motivation, like what Ben was saying earlier. But just random people that come in and talk, are incredible. And I think I told this story on the first episode about a guy who came in and didn't follow, but was chatting away with us and blah, blah, blah. And then he ended up following after like 3 hours of chatting away with us. And the entire time I'm trying to make hints to follow. And he eventually followed as he left, and then became the first ever person to drop 10,000 stars. I've still only to this day had like a handful of like 10,000 star donations, which to anyone that doesn't know is $100. It was a lot of money. It was like, holy fuck.
Well, yeah. You're sitting there playing video games. It's like, even that first donation, I can imagine you must have sat there and gone, thanks, but why? Kind of thing.
Literally. And I'm still like it now. Do you know what I mean? I'm actually still like it now.
Yeah.
Like, I, in full transparency, make a lot more money doing this than I ever did working my bollocks off 7 till 4 in the pissing hard with rain and cold and fucking covered in snow and fox shit. Do you know what I mean? I make like a lot more money than what I did then, which is incredible, and it still baffles me, which is why I normally say, please just watch the videos, just leave a like and a share on the videos. That way it pays me an ad rev and you don't have to pay me in donations. You know what I mean? It's really weird. I don't like taking people's money, and I haven't liked it since the beginning. It's the most fucking surreal feeling, because I know how hard it is to go out every day doing a normal job, having some cunt tell you what to do, say to you like, go and do this, unblock that toilet, go and carry this incredibly heavy fucking vending machine or something up the stairs on your own. You know, I know how fucking awful that is. I've been there. I've done a lot of jobs in my time, and I've been there. And when someone then turns around and is like, hey, here's $2, I'm like, no, that's your $2. And the most surreal ones are just are the big ones. Like, everything feels bizarre to me anyway. You kind of have to switch off from the fact that it is actually happening. You just have to kind of see it as a fact as opposed to like a bizarre thing. Otherwise, I would genuinely sit there, if I hadn't kind of conditioned myself to not be like it, I would sit there just absolutely fucking awestruck every time anyone sent me any sort of donation. Because I find it fucking bizarre. I really do. And there's no other way to explain it. Like, what do you get from sending me money? I sit here, talk pure fucking shit, and play a game more often than not incredibly badly. And people are just like, here, take my hard-earned cash. And I'm like, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's there was a post that was floating around the internet around Christmas time, and I think it still rings true now with donations, is if someone sat there and got you, I don't know, a £10 Christmas gift, in this case, if someone sits there and donates 10 quid to you, that could mean that person's gone away and gone to work and slaved their arse off for an hour just for you. And that's a surreal feeling. Like, really surreal, considering...
It really is. It really, really is. And I remember the first ever 1,200 star donation, which is $12. Which, in the scheme of things, ultimately, without sounding arrogant, $12 isn't a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? $12 is never going to make or break you. $12 is never going to...
I don't know about that. I'm a student. $12. I'd happily take that.
It will fund my beer for the week.
I was about to say, that's booze for like 2 days. I'll take that.
But $12 ultimately isn't enough for you to make it a career. And I just remember having that first $12 donation and going, oh, motherfucker, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? I was like, and you know what? It was from a friend. It was from a close friend of mine. He sent 1,200 stars. And I just remember going to Rob, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? I was like, why, bro? Why? And the thing is, I love Rob to bits, and I still do to this day. We don't talk as much as we should. I don't know if he'll see this, but Rob, if you do, I love you. He sent me 1,200 stars. I knew that he wasn't in a great financial position, and that was the worst part for me, was he had just donated 1,200 stars because of that. And this is the thing. That actually was for a charity stream. We was doing a 24-hour charity stream, and that all the stars we made from that stream was getting donated, and I sent it all. I did actually send it all, but that was still the first ever like donation over like 100 stars, and it was just incredible. It blew my mind. And then things progressed on, and we was playing Modern Warfare at this point, and it was cool. Do you know what I mean? It was cool. It was nice to be able to switch up the game. Unless I really enjoyed it, unless it was Azir Cave, in which case I would just back out because Azir Cave is fucking shit.
Oh, of course, yeah. This was still in the day where Warzone wasn't a thing yet.
This
wasn't
was
it?
yeah.
This
This was
been
before
multiplayer.
Warzone. This was before Warzone.
Yeah.
This was just straight up
Forgot about that.
Modern Warfare multiplayer, and so this was like just running around, golding out guns. I don't even know why it was interesting to watch because I can't even play multiplayer now, let alone watch it. Do you know what I mean?
Multiplayer drives me up the wall. There's a reason I was going. Well, I wasn't necessarily going for Damascus, but I was going for, oh, I'll get this gun gold. I like it. Oh, I like this gun. I'll get it gold. And then by the end of it, I was like, well, I've got like 5 more assault rifles to do. Might as well do the rest of them.
Yeah.
And Christ, after a while, it's so draining.
It's
so
fucking boring,
to think
repetitive.
that you sat there stream on stream, day after day, thinking, oh, let's boot up some Modern Warfare. Let's play some multiplayer. Oh boy, Piccadilly. Oh good, some wanker sat in that top window again. Brilliant. Guess I'll leave. I don't
multiplayer
know
was a strange thing. But this was at a point in time where this still wasn't a career. It wasn't even an option to be a career. I mean, me and Pud had like speculated on potentially in like 3 years' time. That was our outlook on it. In 3 years' time, maybe be able to say I can leave work to do it full time until we can get it to a point where Pud can leave work as well. 3 years. That was what our perspective time range was. 3 years. And so then in March, was it when lockdown struck?
Yeah, around about then was.
It was like the 24th of March.
A bit more serious, yeah.
And I remember that I got an email that night. I was streaming, and this was at a point in time where I did face paint. Every stream, I would paint my face, do something stupid, and I was doing a series called Captain Quarantine. And because lockdown had just sort of started to become a thing, like it hadn't actually been officially announced yet, but people had started to quarantine and stuff. And so we dubbed it Captain Quarantine, Stream Day 1. By about day 3, we was in official lockdown, so I was like, fuck this, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to start streaming full-time. And we'll see what happens, we'll see. Now that I have the chance to give it a really good go, I'll give it a really good go. And I got the email through, and I ended up streaming off into about 2 o'clock in the morning. Which was bizarre because it was the longest stream I'd really done. Oh, I'd done a 24-hour stream at one point for charity, which was cool. I'm never doing it again though. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm never fucking streaming especially not 24 hours of Warzone. I would cry.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was back in the day when I'd hop into every stream and say, "Do you want to come play some Apex? Oh, you should stream Apex. Let's get a game of Apex."
I'm still not gonna stream Apex.
One day, you honestly at this point, even the game's even dead for me as well. I gave up on it.
Supposedly the new update enlivened it for a few people, but it was not something really that I was particularly pleased about.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about Warzone, couldn't you? Every big update that comes through, oh, let's go and play it for a month. Oh, it's still shit.
The best part is they've done some huge updates lately, and my favourite one was the very simple 200 meg update of nerfing the DMR, and the last week is the most fun I've had on Warzone since Halloween.
Have they actually nerfed it then? Because I know they.
Well, I'm not getting bumfucked by it every game. That much is certain.
Oh well, I'll count it then. Because I remember the amount of absolute meltdowns you'd have on the stream. It'd be like an hour and a half in, and you'd be just ready to snap the controller in half.
I mean, I have burnt through so many controllers.
A fair few controllers, to say the least. Yeah,
I used to love having a scuff, and I really liked the scuff. I spent £200 on it. It's like, this is sick. Like, I never used the paddles. I just liked it because it had trigger locks.
Yeah.
That was it. That was how small my fucking ADHD brain could handle it. It was like, I like trigger locks. This warrants £200. And I started using it, and it was like, that's cool. And then I think this one lasted about 6 months. It's actually still to this day, since I've started streaming, the longest a controller has lasted. And then it eventually caved in. It wouldn't sprint anymore. So I went to I bought another scuff, and I broke that scuff within a month. £200 that lasted me less than a month.
Wow. Proper
And then
quality.
I ended up just going back to a basic PS4 controller, and that's what I've stuck with ever since. I've burned for about 4 of them since, admittedly, but at least they're only £50 each. They're not £200 each. You know what I mean? I still begrudge spending £50 every time I break a controller, but it's just, I don't know. I guess it's part of the ongoing cost of the job and my fucking meaty hands.
Yeah, boys, remember when you're donating, you are donating purely to poor, controllers that Halfordsucks abuses day after day, and they deserve a better life. So let him buy more.
Let me put them to rest early so they can have early retirement, because I can guarantee they've not had an easy life. The minute they touch my hands, they get fucking squeezed together when I get the ump because I've died in the googe or some shit. But yeah, it was weird.
Sorry, yes, Captain Quarantine, that was going through 24-hour stream. That was a big charity event, actually. I remember watching that.
I raised, well, I say I raised. I was doing it with a friend of mine who had started streaming about the same time as me.
Yes.
And me, Pud, and Panda all stayed up for 24 hours playing Fortnite. Of all games, Fortnite.
I mean, you joke about it, but at the same time, I don't think you could do that with Warzone now.
No way.
At all.
No fucking way.
In all fairness, I can't think of many games that I like enough to play them for 24 hours.
I could maybe do like different walkthrough. I could maybe do like playthroughs of games for 24 hours.
Yeah,
but I definitely couldn't do Warzone for 24 hours. I can barely fault Warzone for 3 hours at a time sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
I don't blame you on that one.
But it was an experience, to say the least. But in the time of Captain Quarantine, I did 8-hour streams every day for about a month. And anyone that's getting into streaming, if there's anyone watching this that is new to streaming or wants to try it out, please, for the love of fucking God, don't do what I did. Don't do 8 hours a day. I don't care how much you think it's going to help in the algorithm. It doesn't. Don't do it. Because you'll burn yourself out. And you'll fuck yourself over. You'll be spent of ideas. You'll be spent of energy. And you'll be fucked off to the living core. And despise a game that you did initially love because you've died so many fucking times on it.
He says playing Warzone day after fucking day anyway,
begrudging
even with
it,
like 4-hour streams.
Right, just don't do it. Right, there would be people, and this is the baffling part to me. There would be people that would watch the entire 8 hours every single day.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you.
There's still people. There are people who watch the entire, 2 to 3 hour stream of us sitting here chatting bollocks every day. Yeah. That makes no fucking sense
crazy,
to me.
It's crazy.
Why are you wankers here?
what do you want from us?
The fuck are you here for? You're watching 2 drunk dickheads chat. Well, not drunk yet, sadly, but
unfortunately, I'm like 3 whiskeys deep so far, so I don't think it'll be long. But it was things like that kept me going. Like people coming back every single day, and like even if I seldom saw new people, it was having people come back every day, getting excited for the stream, getting excited about people coming back and having fun with us. Do you know what I mean?
I think one question that sorry, I'm reading chat again. Someone's just put, "I'm here to watch Ben play with his beard." Shut up, right? It's like a tick. I think one question that I think a lot of people are going to want to ask, and in all fairness, I've asked this online in terms of like I've searched it online, is when you are sitting there with next to no views, you could be sitting there with one view and it's you because you've got it open in a different tab just to check how you're doing, kind of thing. What kept you going to just continue with that regime of being there on time every day, day after day, playing to potentially no one, potentially 1 or 2 random people coming in?
So many
kept
people
you playing?
So many people come into streaming now and they think that it is a scheme to become rich, that they're gonna make a shit ton of money and quite quickly, right? They really do. I have so many self-entitled small streamers message me every day, and this is one thing I hated, and I don't know if it's just because I didn't do it, but I have so many people now. Now I sit at hundreds of viewers. I have 27,000 followers as of today, and I have so many small streamers with like 100 followers that have been doing it for 2 weeks, right? And their 100 followers are their friends that they've invited from their Facebook friends list, right? That think because they've watched me for the last 6 months, I owe them something. They think, hey, I've been watching your streams all the time. You owe me. Help me grow. And I'm just like, who the fuck do you think you are, you self-entitled piece of shit? That's not normally the response I give them. But some of the messages that I receive, you would honestly... You would be awestruck. You would genuinely be baffled at how it even begins to be an acceptable thing to ask. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's fucking bizarre.
I don't know what goes through someone's head to think, yes, I've watched this person, I've watched hours of their gameplay, I've streamed myself, I'm getting nowhere, they're getting somewhere, therefore, why aren't you plugging me?
I think a lot of people don't realise literally how much work I've put into this.
Well,
and not just me, but Ben and Pud as well have been there for for pretty much all the behind the scenes stuff since the beginning. 6 months ago, I didn't have a fucking clue how to even open Task Manager on my PC. I didn't know how to edit a thumbnail. I didn't know how to even use Photoshop. Yeah. Ben taught me all of that. And admittedly, I do a lot of it now without him because I know he's inundated with uni work and I feel guilty because he has never once asked for money and I had to force buy him a drawing pad for him to accept payment for making the first run of supporter stickers. But
that's a story as well.
That is a story.
I want to talk about
we can get to that one.
Because that was fucking mind blowing to me as well.
But yeah, like back in the day when I had one viewer, right? The thing that kept me going was the fact that I didn't want to make money from it. It was a hobby for me. It was a leash. It's like this, right? We make no money from doing this. I just enjoy doing this. You know what I mean? This to me is fun. And the feedback that it's a bit different really because I've kind of had a head start in the podcast thing because I have an audience already that have somewhat followed us over. I didn't have that with Facebook. It was starting from scratch with 0 viewers, 0 audience, literally nothing. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know anything about streaming. I remember the first ever stream, I had Streamlabs on and display capture on, and I was trying to capture a game with display capture, which is basically going to give you about 1 frame every 3 seconds. But I also had the Streamlabs open on the main screen, so it was display capturing itself. So it was just a loop of fucking display captures getting progressively smaller. And I just remember that, and I think back to that, and I just think, a lot's changed, man. A lot has changed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess the motivation for me when I had one person was there was no motivation. I did it for fun. I did it because I enjoyed doing it. I don't know. There was something about just playing a game with my face on camera looking like an absolute fucking lettuce that I suppose for some reason gave me a kick, I guess.
Yeah. So I suppose the thing to take away from it, if anyone is trying to start streaming, is go in with the right intentions. Don't go in with the aim, I'm going to make like 10 grand a month from this shit. I'm going to be the next ninja. Because I know a lot of the time that you stream, and you've said this to me, and you've said this on podcasts, you've said this on stream as well, giving someone a reason to smile, you fucking love that. I know that sounds wet as fuck to say, but I also know that you love making people smile.
This is the thing, and I think this is where I like the podcast because it really does give myself an opportunity to be completely transparent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get asked, one of the questions I get asked an extraordinary amount is, how much money do you make doing this? Do you know what my answer genuinely is? Do you want to know what I would normally say if it was someone that, if Ben asked me, I would just say, I don't know. Because it fucking changes. There have been days where I've made $1,000 in one day. In 3 hours of streaming, I've made $1,000. $1,000 is a lot of money. That was like half a month's wages at my old job, right? And then the next day, I could make $3. I don't fucking know how much money I'm going to make. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely don't. I would love to be able to tell you. I would love to be able to say I make $2,000 a month every month, or I'd love to be able to say I make $15,000 a month every month. But I don't fucking know, because I can tell you for a fact, in November, I made £900. Right, £900. That's not enough really to live off of as an actual adult. And then in December, I made £5,000. That's the difference in finances. So, despite you thinking that maybe like, oh, he sits there every day, you know, I see donations get thrown at him all the time. A lot of it's like 10 stars, and yeah, that shit adds up. But also, that's nothing compared to 10,000 stars that you see bigger streamers, say like Stone Mountain, getting thrown at them all the time. And I shouldn't really talk about my wages, but I do like to be transparent. I won't talk about it in stream necessarily, but I feel like this is like a safe place for me. And ultimately, anyone can watch this. I really don't care. But I think it's important to know because people do want to know. But to be honest, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely don't. I don't know if 1 month I'm going to make £5,000 or if 1 month I'm going to make £900. I don't. No idea. No idea. And it wasn't like I made £5,000 in donations. I think I just want to clarify that. I made £5,000 as a business from the different sources of revenue. And that was through sales commissions on things like Secret Labs chairs. That was from ad revenue on videos that I post on Facebook. You might have noticed if you are a follower on Facebook or if this is your first time watching on YouTube or whatever. On Facebook, I post a lot of videos. When I post those videos, much like you would as a big creator on YouTube, you get ad revenue for the more views you get. And that paid for a lot of last month. It made up about half of it, and the rest of it was subs and donations. And you're not going to find someone else tell you that. You're not. Let me just say that. And maybe I'll regret saying that. Maybe my donations are going to massively flop in the next month now because people are remembering he made £5,000 in 1 month. Why do I owe him shit? You know what I mean? Because people are like that, and that's why I don't normally answer the question.
Yeah, but at the same time, you've always been transparent enough to sit there and say, you know, I'm not asking for your money kind of thing. Like it's a bit like the last podcast we had, where we were talking about how no, I fucking lost it. What the hell was I talking? I've just completely zoned out for a second
about money.
there. Yeah, it was that was it. Yeah. So we're talking in the last stream about how, you know, would you buy from a company if they were way more upfront about everything?
Yes,
you know, if they were way more blunt with, hey, look, you know, because we were talking about battery life at the time.
And planned obsolescence, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of that. And we were saying how, you know, companies are advertising that this battery will last for 12 hours a day rather than advertising, hey, this battery will last for a year and then you'll need to replace it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people appreciate that transparency that you're giving rather than wishy-washy answers. I don't think it's going to make people necessarily stop donating because at the end of the day, that's you being you. And I think that was a key point that I wanted to bring up was the fact that relatively you've gone into streaming with your personality and everything you do is with your personality. I mean, hell, even from the point of getting sponsorships, as you say, when you say someone comes to you or a company comes to you and says, hello, we would like to sponsor you to advertise our product. And you say, can I have some of the product because I'm not advertising it if it's a load of tat?
Yeah.
And when they turn around and say no, you tell them to do one.
Yeah.
Because you're upkeeping your personality through it all, which I think a lot of people, you know, I speak for chat here when I say we appreciate that. Otherwise, I don't think you'd have nearly as many people coming back. Or if you did, you'd have like brain dead 10-year-olds coming back.
Yeah.
Who are just like, oh, he's just like Ninja. Oh.
Yeah. I think that's I don't know. I feel like that's the thing. We had a stream a couple of weeks. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we banned 8 people in chat at once. Oh, not at once, but in a 4-hour stream or something. And one of the reasons that someone got banned was because he asked me how much money I make, and I said, I'm not going to answer that on stream. I've got about 300 people here watching, and I don't feel comfortable answering it. A, it's none of your business, and B, it's directly indicative to my business as a company if I tell you what money I make each month. But also, I did also say I would love to be able to tell you exactly that I'm going to make $6,000 or $3,000 or whatever every month. I'd love to be able to tell you a consistent number, but I can't because I genuinely don't fucking know. Do you know what I mean? I can tell you this month, as January, I'm going to make a lot less than what I made in December, because I know for a fact that ad rev is down in January because a lot of companies have spent all their money in December advertising, so they have a lower advertising budget in January, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah,
so they spend less money on ads, so ads are worth less on each video. Yeah. So I made X amount in ad rev last month, and it's probably going to be half this month just because of the way ad rev works. It is what it is. Which is sad. It's like, you know, I'd love to be able to make my entire... my goal from content creation and from streaming as a whole is to ultimately build this YouTube channel very, very successfully. This is the platform that I would personally like to expand on the most and really, really build on. Right? And the reason for that is because the money that I make from it isn't from someone like yourself who has gone out, worked their fucking bollocks off, potentially doing something like I did, sticking fucking rods down a shitter to try and unblock someone's monstrous turd, right, in the pissing cold, wet snow, soaked through to the skin, right? I don't want your money. I would rather that some fucking big old corporation are advertising on my fucking video and they're paying my wage. That's what I'd rather. And I'll be 100% honest with you. That is what I would prefer. Do you know what I mean? Because at least then I've not taken from the general working man or woman who has grinded their bollocks off for 8 hours a day at minimum wage for them to donate me $50. Because it's happened and I feel guilty. It's a horrible... It's an amazing feeling. But it's almost like a horrible feeling at the same time. It's like this person likes me enough, likes my characteristic or my gameplay or whatever enough to donate their hard-earned money. But also that feels horrible because it almost feels like daylight fucking robbery. Do you know what I mean?
And for reference, everyone listening, this is not a call for, hey, please give us more donations.
No, it's really not.
We're playing the pity card. Please give us...
Not.
No, fuck off.
I mean, like, if you want to fucking donate hundreds of dollars, right, I'm not going to say no. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, because it is ultimately what pays my fucking wages now. If you turn around and you're like, hey, Halford, and I'm like, yo, and you're like, here's 500 quid, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my answer is probably going to be, what the fuck? I had someone give us 10 games to win. 10 games to win. It sounds really easy to do. For $1,000.
Fuck.
We won on the 10th game. I didn't feel like I'd earned $1,000.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. Yes.
It was the most bizarre thing. Alfie, I don't want to do this to make money. Ben, this is your £5. Alfie's just tipped £5.
What am I doing?
I'll give you a £5
on Facebook.
Well, he's gone and obviously found my donation link on Facebook and tipped £5. It's just come up with my alerts. Fuck. He says, "Love you, bro." So Ben, that's
Alfie,
your £5.
You bastard. Basically,
any money that I said we make from podcast goes to Ben because Ben is a university student. He is inundated in debt because of the way university works in the UK. So I said, if we ever make any money from podcasts, I didn't expect it to be donations. I meant more ad rev if we reach 1,000 subs and the criteria, etc. I was like, it's Ben's. So same will go if anyone is weird enough like Alfie to donate £5. That's Ben's. That'll fund his booze for the next episode. How's that sound?
Bastard. I love you, geezer, but you fucking bastard.
Thank you, Alf. I really do appreciate it, mate. I'm glad I've got my alerts open. But I don't know, it's a weird one, isn't it, really? It's like, I don't know, linking back to early days, when Warzone first came out, I would sit at like 6 to 8 people on average, and 2 of those would be friends. And it would kind of just progress from there. It would be like, hey, this is pretty cool. Maybe we've gained like 1 follower a day. And that was the growth rate. It was like between 1 to 10 followers every day. Alfie, stop it. Stop it. I'm going to beat you next time I see you. There's another £10 in your name, Ben.
Oh, fuck off.
Fuck uni
Alfie.
fees. Get a Big Mac.
I will put a picture. I will put a picture up on the Facebook group or something of me holding a Big Mac.
You're gonna have to send me your bank details, Ben. And I'll just transfer you the money.
Yeah, Alfie, you're a bastard. I love you, but you are an absolute bastard. You can stop it now. I don't want any more.
Let's stop.
That
We're not
scared
doing
me.
this for money. This is fun to us. This isn't.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
admittedly, I will class this as an offshoot of my business, but this isn't for money. This is for me. I don't want this to be money. Do you know what I mean? I want this to be about transparency and some fun, an opportunity for us to talk shit together, and an opportunity for viewers. And I'm going to use the term fans here. I absolutely hate that term. I really fucking do.
abhor that term. Yeah,
Because
no.
whenever anyone says to me, I'm a big fan of yours, I'm like, you're not a fan of mine. You're a part of my fucking family. You know what I mean? I hate the term, but I'm going to use it here. It's an opportunity for fans and viewers to get to know me better and to get to know members of my team better. Because Ben is a very heavily invested member of my team. He's been here for a long time, since the start, with an incredible attitude to everything that I've done. He's one of the few people that I've known for a long time that have actually supported every
I'm
step of the way for me. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know, like, linking back to that, in terms of motivation, it was never financial gain. I never actually thought that was going to be what it was. It was, for me, it was just having some fun, just maybe making someone smile every day. And the job for me at first was, if I could make one person smile every day, I've done something good. You know what I mean? I'm a pretty selfish person, but I'd like to consider myself amusing, to say, to describe it in.
That's
like,
one way of putting it.
And if I can use that to potentially put a smile on someone's face, that's what I'd like to do. Do you know what I mean? That was what it was always about for me. And that's how I knew that when we had these 3 or 4 family members that all came back and they all said how much the stream meant to them, that to me was like, that's fucking cool. And then we branched out, we found new people, and we found people that were becoming more regulars, people that were donating regularly, which was the most bizarre part to me. It's like, it's one thing to donate $10, but it's another thing donating $10 every day. Do you know what I mean? Or like, or once a week, or however often it becomes. Fucking bizarre. Fucking bizarre. I cannot stress this enough. Fucking bizarre. Right? And it wasn't about the money, because the money started to pick up when I was able to do more hours, as it would. You put more hours in, you get more out. It's the same with everything. I'm a firm believer, if you want something to happen, you put the effort in and it will happen. But that still wasn't the reason. I wanted to reach more people to make more people smile, more than the fact of I wanted to reach more people to make more money. Do you know what I mean? And so we started getting a bigger audience. And I say a bigger audience, we would average 10 people instead of 6 people. But it was growth. It really was. I started to make maybe a couple $100 a month, which literally got reinvested back into the stream immediately. I don't think I spent a penny of that on myself to start with. Every single penny of it went towards, the first $5,000 that I made went towards this computer that is funding everything, like, that is firing and fueling everything now. The first £5,000 I made bought this computer. And I'm forever grateful for that, because even if at that point streaming had flopped, I could have said, hey, I wanted a new computer and I worked my fucking bollocks off and I managed to get one. Do you know what I mean? And it meant an incredible amount. Do you know what I mean? It was like, that was what that first $5,000 spent. And that was the first $5,000, right, that started this business properly. Because once I bought this computer, the money started becoming a bit more regular. The streams were getting better. The content was picking up because I was able to do more with it. I wasn't limited hardware-wise or knowledge-wise, because I'd learned a bit more about it all by then. And I could start to pick things up. And Warzone dropped, and we started... I think I was still playing Warzone when it first dropped on my old PC. And, you know, it was pretty cool to see that. And then, you know, the money started picking up, the more hours I was putting in, and I made $1,000 in 1 month. And I was just like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And that worked out as about, at the time, about £800. I think it's less now, because the conversion rates are
Buggered.
In theory, better if you're from the UK going to the US, but from US to the UK, which is how my money's worked out, worse. So it was about £800, and I just remember I was like, oh man, £800 from playing games for a month. That's crazy, bro. That's fucking crazy. And then the money was picking up, and it was making this, that, and that. And I was like, holy shit. And then in August, right? But while I was doing this, and I think it's really important to add my decision behind going full time. When the time I went full time, the most money I'd made in a single month was $1,500, which quick maths is what, 400 plus 800, £1,200, right? £1,200 is maybe just enough to scrape by as a functioning adult. Really isn't a lot of money at all in terms of living in the
grand scheme of things. Like, you look at that as a kid. I mean, hell, you look at £100 as a kid and you think, wow, that's amazing. In the grand scheme of things, though, when you become an adult, 1.2, 1.4 grand.
Nothing. My car insurance for the year.
It goes immediately.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Literally, I've got to reinsure my car at the end of this month, and it's going to cost me £900. Plus, I've got to get MOT'd because it ran out of MOT 11 days ago. And I thought, I don't go anywhere. I have nowhere to go at the minute. What's the point in fucking doing the MOT?
Who fucking does?
Yeah, when I can, I'll just wait. I'll do it all at once. Fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was a really weird one. It was kind of like, that's pretty cool. But the money started to pick up, but still to this day, at that point, I'd only made £1,200 in 1 month, which would have been enough for me to survive off of, but it was never going to be like a prosperous business. You know what I mean? There would never have been any developments in the business, at least not quickly. It would have been maybe saving £100 a month tops, because you have to have a life alongside these things. And admittedly, I'm not a good example of that at the moment because I don't have a life outside of this right now. I'm very limited to what I do. I sleep there. I wake up. I come sit in this chair. I start work. I sit in chair all day working. Not just on the stream. You don't see a lot of the stuff that I do. And then I get out of chair, I get in bed, I go to sleep, and then rinse and repeat.
Yep.
I'll
admit, well, it's not even a secret. I think a lot of people are jealous of you right now, and rightfully so. I am massively jealous of you now, not necessarily for the ability to sit there and do the thing. Well, okay. It is because you can sit there and do the thing you love. To me, I sleep 3 feet in that direction. I sleep over there. I get up, sit here, do uni work for like 9 hours. I sat there doing a maths question today for 6 fucking hours, 6 bloody hours, and then, of course, I've got nowhere to move. I just sit here and I'm like, right, well, now it's time to play some video games. I spend so much time in this damn chair. I think it's going to have arse imprints from my arse to,
mine has.
Till the end of fucking time. But I'm incredibly jealous, and I think a lot of people would be.
But also, you know somewhat of what goes behind the scenes. You still don't see everything that I do.
No, I'm not saying you sit there and do fuck all every day. And then it's like, right, off to bed. I know for a fact that it is wake up, work, go back to bed.
There's, I think it's really hard to, and this is going to make me sound a little bit arrogant because not many people get to live the life that I currently live. And I hate saying this. People don't understand how hard what I actually do is, because a lot of people see it as just sit there and play a game for a few hours a day, make however much money I make in that stream, and then be done. You know what I mean? That's what people think it is.
Yeah.
When in reality, from the minute I wake up, I start editing, I'm answering, and when I say dozens, I mean I must have maybe 30 to 40 messages every single day I warrant a reply to. And I can guarantee if you message most other streamers, they're not going to reply. I reply to every single one of them. Admittedly, that is a forced workload that I maybe don't need to necessarily worry about. But I do it anyway because I think it's same reason I read chat in streams. I just think it's polite. People are taking their time out of their day to message you. Admittedly, some of them message me for their own personal gain, which I don't like. they normally get either a hostile reply or ignored then. But it's
I think what's nice to see from my perspective, at least, and I can imagine that people are here to also appreciate it, is the fact that I know for a fact that throughout the day you're quite on edge with everything. Not necessarily on edge, that might be the wrong term to use, but you're on top of content. You're very, I suppose, high strung at the end of the day, because you're sitting there, you're editing videos, you're then streaming, you're getting off, you might take an hour to yourself, and then you're back to editing or back to, as you say, answering calls and everything. I like to see you in this environment. And yes, I'm bigging up basically my own podcast here, but I like to see you in this environment where you can relax and chat shit and not have to sit there and think, oh God, I've got like an hour more of this, and then it's back to fucking business calls. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Like,
I like seeing this.
Say we finish at midnight tonight. Do you know what I'm going to go and do? Because when I tried editing this morning, every time I opened Premiere Pro to start editing, something would come up, and either that was an idea call, a business call, or a message, and I would prioritize that over the video editing initially, and to get that, start with that, blah 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 blah. I could go on forever. And now this is a really weird part for me, is like I said earlier about the feeling of guilt when people donate. It also gives people a version of self-entitlement, which I find incredibly rude. And I don't like that. But there are people that have donated hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to me, have paid my wages for 1 month without even knowing that they're the only person that's donated a sizable amount enough to actually pay my wages. And without them, I would have sat there with £200 like fucking lost. And these people don't know the effect that they've had on my life, and I would probably never outright tell them. But there are people that send 100 stars or pay £3.49 to sub a month. And yeah, I'm incredibly grateful for that. I really am. And this does sound rude, how I'm about to say this. But I never asked for it. And because of that, I don't feel like I owe them anything. And that's where like controversy comes to something. Because these people are like, hey, here's £3.49 a month. I own you now. You know what I mean? And the argument in chat the other day when someone asked me the wages was, someone said, why shouldn't you tell us how much you earn when we're the people that pay your wages? And this guy, I had never sent stars, and I treat everyone equally in my chat. I really do. I really, really do. Whether you've sent stars before, whether you're an ongoing viewer, whether you're a brand new viewer, whether you've been subbed for months, whether you sent thousands of dollars. Everyone in my chat gets treated the same. It's as simple as that. If I see your comment and I get the opportunity to read it, I will read it. Right? If I miss your comment, I miss your comment. It is what it is. I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? And these people that pay £3.49 a month, and there's been a couple of individuals, I won't be naming any names, have been incredibly rude to me when they've been subbed for maybe 2 or 3 months. And ultimately, overall, they've paid £10.50 to sub to me for 3 months. I get 70% of that because they're on mobile, and Apple and Google like to take their cuts because they're greedy cunts.
That's about right.
Yeah. And because
of that,
I
will let you have this rant. I'm just dying for a slash.
You go,
and
mate,
I need some more brewskis.
Go, girl. You go,
back in a second.
And they think that because they've given me, I think it probably works out to be about £8.70, that I owe them my life. They're like, I want to play with you right now. Play with me. And then I'm like, no, I'm trying to create content. I'm trying to make people smile. You coming in being an arrogant prick isn't making people smile. Do you know what I mean? And I've had to straight up say, please stop it, because it's fucking rude. I don't owe you anything as far as I'm concerned. I'm grateful, yeah. But it's not like I've sat there and said to you, bitch, sub to me, otherwise you can't watch me. Do you know what I mean? What I do for free. No one at any point has to give any money at all. And it's the same with any other streamer. If anyone, as far as I'm concerned, if a streamer asks for money, they're doing it for the wrong reason, and you definitely shouldn't donate to them. Not once in my streaming career have I ever set a star goal. Not once in my streaming career have I ever had an on-screen thing saying, this is how much money I want to make this month. You know what I mean? Because I hate it. And I don't know if I hate it because I don't want necessarily people to know how much money I've made that day. Or I don't know if I hate it because I think it's rude. Like the same way as I know it's maybe different in the US because like tips in the US are expected if you went to like a bar. But if you go to a restaurant in the UK, you're not expected to leave a tip. It's just polite. Do you know what I mean? And if I didn't leave a tip at a restaurant, which I normally do out of courtesy because they've served me, they've been polite to me. If I leave a tip, I then don't turn around and say, suck my penis, I gave you £5. Do you know what I mean? Or I don't turn around and treat them like absolute shit because I've given them a couple of extra quid than they might have normally made. Do you know what I mean? That's bizarre to me. And that's exactly what streaming is. I don't stream to necessarily play with people. I've played with some incredible individuals, whether that be supporters or other streamers or just random people that I've met through playing. I play to make content, to make people smile, and ideally that's not making people smile because they've got an opportunity to play with me. It baffles me, it really does, when people play with me and they're fucking awestruck about it. But the people that turn around and say to me, I want sub games now, I'm like, no. They're like, no, I want sub games. You haven't done sub games in 3 weeks now. And I haven't. I'll hold my hands up and I'll say I haven't. There's a reason I haven't. And I've said the reasons that I haven't. I'm not going to go into that now. But people get really shitty when you're saying no sub games because I just don't want to do it. I don't feel like the content is good enough when I'm doing sub games because a lot of my content is focused around either being funny in my own comfortable environment with another streamer or on my own or with a friend of mine or by talking to chat. Do you know what I mean? And I think people forget that, and people forget that streamers are human as well. And this is ultimately the most human you'll ever see me. I'm not going to sit here and fucking start crying because, you know, I'm sad or whatever. But it's I don't know, it's a weird thing to me. The amount of like hate you can get as a streamer just for straight up sitting there playing a game is bizarre. Ben, what are your thoughts on donation goals? Someone who sets a goal and then says, this is the amount of time I want to reach it in.
Personal opinion, I think it's greedy and really untactful, I suppose is a word for it.
Does it change your opinion if it's a smaller streamer versus a bigger streamer?
Honestly,
say that there's someone who is been streaming for 2 months, they got 500 followers, their growth is steady. Okay. Say they put a donation goal up for 10,000 stars so they can reach their payout limit and actually get paid by Facebook. And they say they want to reach that in the next 20 days and they're halfway there. What do you think about that? Do you think that is
with a
dedication, or do you think that is someone thinking they're trying to get money for doing something else?
Obviously, there's two ways to look at it. They could be doing it in a relatively malicious way, in a way of thinking, oh, maybe if I put up a goal, then, you know, the closer we get, the more tempted people will be to send stars, and that means I can make more. If someone's doing it in a way of, I just want a payout for the money I've earned, I can kind of understand. But from a viewer's perspective, if I saw that on stream, I don't know. To me, it comes across as almost greedy because I didn't start streaming and you didn't start streaming for the same reason, to earn a load of money from it.
Yeah.
And without trying to sound like a dick, if they've necessarily, if they've left their job or if they're in loads of debt and they're starting streaming up, or if they've left their job to go streamer full time, fair play to the commitment for them. but I don't feel like that's the way you should do it, if that makes
So
sense. But
say
that's my personal opinion on it, I suppose.
Say as me 3 months ago, you know how much money I made each month. I've kept you updated. You've known the ins and outs of it. I've told you. I consider you a very close friend, if not one of my best. Well, I consider you one of my best friends, as well as a very important part to my business, whether you'll accept my money or not. And if I'd have said when I left work, if I'd have said, right, this is how much money I want to... Because when I left work, I had a perspective number in my head as to what I wanted to make each day in donation. Because when I left work, I didn't have subs. All of my money came from star donations or direct donations. And to make that work, I wanted to make about $2,400 a month. Theoretically, would have been a healthy and viable number for me to make. It worked out to be about $60 to $80. I think it's about $80 a day. In donations. That was what I wanted to make. And if I'd have put up a star goal every day to say I made $80 because it was to make my full-time wage work as a full-time content creator, what would you have said to that? To pay my wages, essentially, to help me stay full-time.
Well, I think that depends on me as a person and depends on you as a person. If I watch a streamer and they turn around and say, hey, by the way, guys, I'm really struggling this month, so I'm going to put up this star donation goal thing. Any help would be appreciated. Then I can kind of get behind that if I like the streamer and if I want to support the streamer. I think if people are doing it, the difficulty comes across in the way of when I go through streamers, like the smaller streamers, and I try and support them. If someone's clearly being an arrogant prick on stream, or if someone's clearly trying to scam people out of money or some shit, then yeah, I'm not going to do anything. And unfortunately, to me, a lot of the times, if I click on a stream and they've got a star donation, I don't know. I immediately think, I'm
now think about someone like think about someone like, I'm going to use Nick Merckx.
Okay.
And I don't watch a lot of Twitch streamers in general. I don't actually have a lot of chance to watch other streamers as much as I would like to. I really would like to watch more. Appreciates perhaps undiscovered talent, as well as people who are obviously discovered talent and are incredible at what they do. But let's use Nick Merckx for this example. The guy gets millions of views on YouTube every month. I assume probably makes hundreds of thousands each month in ad rev from YouTube alone. He's got something like 60,000 subscribers on Twitch.
Yeah.
Which it's about 120 grand a month alone. Assuming
nice.
They're all tier 1.
Yeah.
Right?
And they will be a mixture of tier 1,
They will be
2,
a mixture of tier 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you watch Nick Merckx' stream, he has his alerts section, and his alerts, it is constant of just subscribers and resubscribers for X amount of months or brand new subscriber, whatever. I think he currently has about 60,000 subscribers, so it's about, I don't know, probably about 150 grand a month. Then say probably 200,000 a month from YouTube, at least. And I mean, it could well be a lot more than that because he's got 2 YouTube channels that are both doing incredibly well.
Yeah.
So we could probably go as far as saying he's making $500,000 a month from ad rev in YouTube alone. 150,000 a month, so 650 grand a month at this point in finances. Plus all of his donations, and I can guarantee that motherfucker probably makes about $700 to $1,000 every day, at least in donations.
Oh, yeah.
So you're looking at potentially another 30 grand a month in donos alone. If he put up a goal and it wasn't for charity, it was for his own financial gain, what would you say then?
To be honest, exactly the same thing.
Greed.
Not necessarily greed. I think it's a double-edged sword, and it's the same for a smaller streamer as it is a bigger streamer. Only the bigger streamer is going to get more of a payout from it. I think it will incentivize some people to send stars, because then if there is a star goal, you're going to get more of a reaction from the streamer if you send stars. But the other side to it is that people like me, as soon as I see it, I think, well, no, I'm stubborn. No, I'm not doing it now. But I think, as someone brought up in the chat, actually, which I agree with, if it's solely for personal gain or solely to keep the streamer afloat, as someone said, to a degree, it is the streamer's responsibility to do that. With a big streamer, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not personally. I'm just not a fan of seeing it on screen. I think it's.
I'm gonna relate this back to when I first went full time properly. Yeah. When I first made the decision, when I was furloughed, and I said, right, I quit. I handed my notice in at work. I could have milked furlough pay for much longer. I could have potentially got redundancy payout. I didn't do it because I didn't like the uncertainty. I just wanted to know. I didn't want to get called back to work the next day. And I didn't want to do anything like that. I just wanted to know what my life was. Yeah. And indirectly, by leaving my job to know where my life was, I was in a much less stable position because I actually had no idea how much I was going to make. At the time where I set myself a goal to make $80 every day, I never set a star goal. It was a goal in my head. It was like, if I make $80 every day, that's $2,400 a month. $2,400 a month was, say, $1,600 to £2,000 a month, depending on conversions. And that to me was like, that's a lot of money still.
I get that, but in my mind, that's a different goal. Because in my mind, if you're setting a goal in your mind as to how much you want to make without putting it on screen, you're saying, right, I want my performance on stream to be at least, I don't know, $50 a day, or good enough for $50 a day.
But how do you put a price on performance when you're an individual?
Yeah, no, obviously you can't. I think if you're sitting there and going, right, well, I only earn, well, this is the difficulty, is streaming is just an incredibly volatile thing, isn't it? You can sit there and have a really shit day and think, oh, fuck me, I never want to go back. You'll go back the next day and you won't be in the mood for it. And suddenly you'll earn shitloads, or, you'll gain a load of followers and a load of traction out of nowhere. But in my mind, I think, just to sort of round off the point, I just think that star goals, especially on screen, are just tactless. I think they're just a bit tacky.
I mean, I understand it. I really do.
Opinion.
I've spoken to streamers before that have said, I was actually speaking to someone the other day that is full-time as well. They're slightly bigger than I am. Some of you might cotton on to who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say their name out of respect. He said that in December he put a star goal up, and it's what he wanted to make each day. And it was slightly more than what I wanted to make each day, but he's slightly bigger than I am, and he has more responsibility than I am because he's an actual adult. I still live at home with my mum. And he said as soon as he started putting that star goal up, the money increased. And every day he would keep it on the entire stream, and he would more or less meet it every day, if not overshoot it massively. And he was like, it was the best decision I ever made, because for a long time I hated it. And I was like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I was like, he was like, honestly, try it. I was like, I don't know if I can bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
Because as much as I know that, because I've gone into smaller streamers before, and I think even Alfie I've done it to as well, who's in chat. I've gone into Alfie's before and he's had a star goal set, and I've seen it and I've been like, I'm going to donate that amount to finish their star goal because I know it'll make their day.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's me because I'm a streamer and what they set their star goal as for 2 months I make in a day. Not in like a... I want to preface everything by saying not in an arrogant way, but it's genuinely not. It's like I've seen streamers who have been sat on a 10,000 star goal for 2 months, right? And they've maybe made 10 stars a day. Right, and I've gone in and I've done $20 donations or whatever to finish their star goal, and their face is beyond belief for me. And I don't know if I think of it like that because I've potentially... I don't know, like now it's a bit different for me because a lot of people know who I am. I can go into someone's stream and like their stream as my page. And this is the most surreal feeling. Obviously, a lot of people know that I did the small streamer week, or have at least put the applications out for the small streamer week. And I went through and I checked out loads of streamers. And I mean, we had something like 150 to 200 submissions for it. I can't remember the exact number. It was somewhere in between that. A lot of them got ignored because they were just rude. And I was like, fuck you. Some of anyone that sent me a proper answer, there was about 150 of them. I went and checked out. And if they were live, I went into their stream while they were live. I liked it as the page. And I commented. And just, I would normally like it just to see what their initial reaction was. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people consider me, especially smaller streamers, consider me a big streamer. And even viewers consider me a big streamer. Off Ben. And even viewers consider me a big streamer when there's hundreds of people in chat. And I still don't see myself as a big streamer. I really don't. Because the people I look up to have thousands of viewers consistently. I've sat at over 1,000 people once.
But do you think in your position, were you not looking up to people? Sorry, in your position, however many months ago, 6 odd months ago, were you not looking up to people who are relatively in your position now?
Okay, let me tell you a little story about when I first started. The person that I looked up to the most when I first started was a guy called Average Dad. Now, a lot of people might know him. Some people hate him. Some people love him. He's a bit like Marmite. He's an interesting character, and I think he's an incredible streamer. If you can call him a dickhead, you can call him whatever you want. Preferably not in my fucking chat, even on YouTube, because I won't stand for it. I don't like people slagging off other creators. But I know he can rub people up the wrong way, same as I can. Just a part of the business, right? When I first found him was when I first was about a month before I first started streaming. He had 50,000 followers. And he was averaging about 600 viewers playing Fortnite. Or not even that, maybe 300 to 600 viewers, right? And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, I can't even imagine having, one person there watching you play Fortnite. Even having your boys spectate you in your fucking end game and they're all dead is incredible enough to me. And I literally just I looked up to him. He was a big influence to me. And now he's at like 300 something K and coming up on maybe even 500,000 now. I'm not actually sure where he's at this point in time, but his growth has been incredible. He's a big person for me to look up to, and a lot of people don't like him. They really don't. A lot of people don't like his attitude toward things, but I see him very much as myself. We have very similar mindsets. I donate £20 if you can go stream without mentioning his PP. No, that's not happening. I might as well just
go stream without mentioning what? Sorry,
his PP, his penis.
Oh well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not going to happen.
And but it's just like, that's cool. Some people don't like him. I personally look up to him. He's an incredible streamer. Credit where it's due. Whatever kind of person he is an incredible fucking streamer. He's not great at the game. Like, he's above average, admittedly. But I would probably consider him worse at the game than I am, and I don't consider myself good at the game necessarily. But he's definitely above average in terms of gameplay. But his stream ability is amazing. The way he manages to keep people enticed. I've never watched someone like I've watched Average Dad. You know what I mean? I've never, he was the first ever streamer that I'd watched. The first ever person that I'd taken more than 2 minutes behind you. 2 minutes to spend time and watch. You know what I mean? Everyone else had been like, I'll watch for a little bit and now I'm bored. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was bizarre. And that was at the point where I was deciding whether or not I wanted to stream myself. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I see myself as relatively similar to him. And a lot of the time, anyone that's watched him has come into my chat. And I know Drew, I don't know if Drew's here. I think Drew's at work. I think he finishes at 11. He'll probably be in then. He said to me when he first found me, there are two people I watch in terms of streamers, you and Average Dad. And he was like, you're both really similar in the way you present yourselves. And I've had that a lot. I really have. And to me, that's incredible to hear because it's like, I looked up to this guy for so fucking long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was a massive influence on me and my stream and how I presented myself on stream and how I said things and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, you know, it's fucking crazy. I mean, I don't know, like, so as someone who, like yourself, is starting streaming from scratch, is starting it from nothing essentially, although you have the potential knowledge from me and, you know, even a potential audience from me if I'm feeling nice one day. Who do you look up to?
Who do I look up to?
What's been your inspiration to start streaming, whether for fun, whether for, for career-wise, whatever?
There are a couple of people I look up to, but I'm not sure whether you or chat will know who they are.
Just say it. Say it and explain why.
One of them, who I love, is a guy called Sleepy, professional Overwatch player.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be, you know, as big as him because I don't want to go professional, especially not in that shithole of a game. You know, but I like his personality. I like the fact that, you know, he will regardless go through and say thank you for all of the subs, donations, regardless of what it is, he'll still thank everyone for it.
Yeah.
There's another guy who plays Dead by Daylight. Again, same reason. He's a really genuine bloke, really down to earth. He's called Otstava. He sits there and bless his heart, a bit like you, he plays the same game day in, day out. And I don't know how he can stick it because I can't stick more than 2 hours of that game before I get the right ump with it. But people like that, you know, I like the down to earth, the more human streamers, the people that are like Dr. Disrespect. Fair play to him. You know, obviously he's made a living based off of the persona he's created and the way he creates content. Fair play to him, but it's not my style. I'm not going to sit there and watch him on stream. It's not my thing. But I understand there is a market for things like that, and there's a market for very much an alter ego kind of streamer.
Yeah. Depending
on, well, you know, you have the streamer and then you have the person themselves.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't want to do that. I want to play games. I want to have fun.
I want to
make other people have fun.
Well, this is the thing. You and I have had this conversation about Dr. Disrespect a couple of times because when in creative ruts, I've said, these are the people I look up to. These are the people I'm like, this is what I want to be like and what I potentially want to achieve. Yes, sir.
I have a point.
Go on.
Turns out you can't say Dr. Disrespect on Twitch or you'll get banned.
Yeah, they're really anal about it. They fucking hate it.
I don't know why. To this day, I still don't actually know why he got
No
banned.
one does. He hasn't even released why. He doesn't seem to. Every time it's been imposed, he doesn't know. Which
is insane to think you can't say someone's name.
Yeah, that's the thing, because people were getting banned for having him playing through their stream through Discord because they were doing like 2v2 chows with him and things like that, and they were getting banned for having him playing through their fucking stream audio. Crazy.
That's insane.
But
carry on.
We've had this conversation before about you not liking him, or being particularly fond of him and his persona, etc. And why I like him and why I look up to him. And maybe it's a bit like, from someone who has been in maybe a position, someone who's more experienced in streaming than you, I potentially understand more why he does what he does than you do. Once again, not to belittle knowledge or anything like that, but just because...
I don't give a shit.
Well, this is the thing, 15 months down the line versus 2 months down the line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I know more than you. I know more about the business and the ins and outs of it than you do. And why I look up to him as a character, because he doesn't even read chat. He fucking barely reads donations, things like that. And yet that motherfucker went live for 24 hours on YouTube with a starting soon screen and made like $500,000 in donations.
Yeah, but that's where I almost have to respect him for the fact that he manages to pull off just shit like that.
It's
Fair play
crazy.
to him.
It's
And
crazy.
the production value that he has on his streams is immense. He's got
Yeah.
that down to a T, and fair play to him. The streams look gorgeous. Everything about them is stylized perfectly. It is all him. If anyone tries to even do something slightly similar, it's well, you're just
already.
that's his style now, kind of thing. I can't deny that fact. And yeah, he has made one hell of a following for himself, and to a degree, he's doing everything right for how he wants to stream. And fuck, has he done well for himself? Fair play to the geezer, but
it's fucking crazy because like, going back to Nick Merckx. Now, I don't watch Nick Merckx live. I watch a lot of Nick Merckx's YouTube videos. And I've kind of implemented this into my own stream as well now because. And this is going to be another thing where it does potentially sound arrogant. A lot of the time, especially at the beginning of a stream, I'll be reading donations more than I'm reading chat because chat's coming through at the speed of light and donations are coming through pretty quick. And obviously the thing that gets priority is the people that have paid for me to essentially read their message. So they take priority. And I kind of like that and I kind of don't like that. I like that I'm at a point where people are like, look up to me so much or enjoy my content so much that they will pay me just to read what they want me to say. But also I'm kind of like, I want to treat everyone equally. And that's hard when there is 100 people in chat and 10 of them are donating however much, but everyone in chat's commenting. You know what I mean? How do you balance that? And so it's gotten to a point now where I like, because a comment is easier to read than a donation, while I'm in game, especially if it's like a really hefty part of the game, say I'm in the middle of a fight or end zone, I normally ignore chat and I ignore donations now, and I'll save it until after that particular part of the fight is done or whatever, and I'll say, and I feel guilty for it because there are people that donate to say goodbye, and I'm like, end zone, balls deep in a fucking fight, like shooting the shit out someone and they're shooting the shit out of me and I'm like ignoring their donation of 1,000 stars to say goodbye and I'm like, stop, that's the biggest donation I've had this stream and I'm ignoring it because I'm mid fighting. Do you know what I mean? Before I would have just literally died and just said thank you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think so long as you are keeping that mentality of the fact that you want to keep everyone equal and things like that, people are going to respect that a lot more, because otherwise you are just going to turn into that person who only reads donations. I mean, hell, I watched a streamer on Facebook. I'm not going to mention names or this is all going to go tits up. And they were getting donations through, and they were ignoring them. They were getting chats through of like genuine questions, ignoring them. And if the donation was above a certain threshold, then they'd read it. And that immediately just made me think, what a wanker. And fair play, they might not actually be a wanker, but at the time I was just thinking, wow, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Do one. This person has actually taken the time to take funds out of their account and fund your account, and you're just flat out ignoring their question. You're not saying thank you or anything. But so long as you keep that mentality that you have of, I want to keep everyone equal, then I think that's a good way to go. I don't think anyone's going to donate to you in the final circle.
Yeah.
And
sorry, I just want to say good night, Alf. I love you.
Oh, good night, Alf.
Go on, carry on. Sorry, end circle.
But yeah, I mean, I think if anyone donates to you or, I don't know, subscribes to you or stuff like that, especially when you're at a key point in gameplay, or, you know, they do it and then a few seconds later you get into some heated firefight where it's 1 versus 3, both your teammates, me and Pud, are shit, so we've just carked it immediately. I don't think anyone's going to sit there and go, oh, what a bell end.
Yeah.
He's not reading my donation immediately.
Also, another thing, good night, Tim.
Oh, night, Tim. Love you.
I think that the part of this is so say
it's keeping the human aspect.
Yeah.
Which is why I can appreciate your streams, because you are keeping that human aspect of being grateful. There are a lot of streamers who get to a point where they are reaching however many hundreds at once, and that human aspect goes out the window and they immediately go in for, be it the financial gain or the social gain or something like that. and so they stop being human and they stop interacting properly.
Yeah.
So
Now,
if you keep that, then that's good.
I've had donations end zone that have been literally my wages for the day. They've been like $100 donations, and I've just straight ignored because it's the same thing. And I think it is about keeping that balance. It is about balancing. If you're going to ignore a donation of 10 stars, you ignore a donation of 10,000 stars, because quite frankly, you've ignored the first one for a reason, so you ignore the second one for a reason, despite the amount. Do you know what I mean? Admittedly, sometimes I can feel it happening as well, where I've had a donation come through and I've looked at it out the corner of my eye and I've just gone, but I'm mid firefight and I'm like, fuck, keep going. Do you know what I mean? Don't say anything yet. And I remember the first time a particular person donated, and they donated a fairly substantial amount. It's about 4,500 stars. $45. No, Curtis, don't worry. This is Jack Daniels in the Coke. They donated about 4,500 stars, and it was like that on top of what I'd made that day was basically paying my wages. And it was like, and then, but I just dropped at super, so I was engrossed in the game, and I looked out the corner of my eye, I was like, fuck, that's the first time this cunt sent stars. And I was like, ignore it, you're fighting someone. So I ignored it, and I ignored everything else that came through at that point in time. And
well, it's super.
Well,
it's
yeah,
not
exactly.
You can just
exactly.
ignore super. It's super.
But this is the thing. You know yourself, I've built my stream and my brand around community engagement, right?
Yeah.
And I still to this day stand by the fact that I would rather read chat than play the game.
Yeah.
And if I could do every stream like a fucking podcast where I sit there and read chat, believe you me, I fucking well would.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the caveat to that for me is you've also got to think these people are here watching you for a reason. Whether that's to do with chat or to do with the fact that you're a funny cunt or you're good at the game or whatever, there have been times where chat has moved so fast for me that I've not been able to read a single comment.
Yeah.
Oh, your internet's just gone to shit, Ben.
Uh-oh.
You're big frozen.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I can hear you, but I can't. Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're kind of back. Kind of back.
Uh-oh.
What have you done?
I sat here and played with myself a bit too much. I think the internet didn't like it.
I think the trade-off for that is when you have, because before I would average 20 to 30 people in chat. And that to me was mind-blowing enough as it was, like a whole classroom full of people watching you play Call of Duty, talking to you, liking your stream, potentially sending donations and being subbed to you, whatever. Like, that was pretty crazy enough. And now I've got 300 people in chat, more people than you'd fit in a fucking jumbo jet. It's a bit like, holy fuck, do you know what I mean?
I think my internet shat itself again.
I can see, I mean, you're frozen, but I can hear you.
Yeah, and you're getting like robotic as fuck for me.
Oh, sausage. Do you want to switch to your phone?
Someone did say donations for me to get better internet. I fully agree. Please.
Yeah, but you've got to keep it up every month so we can continue to fund better internet every month.
Fund my fiber
I can guarantee that round where me and Ben live, it is not good internet.
Trust me.
But I think when it gets to a point where the chat's moving so fast and you've got so many people in that it becomes nigh on impossible to read chat at least every message. You might get the odd one that you can read where it's like, I've seen a comment, that's interesting, I'll read about that.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're still taking an interest in chat. It's not
yes
like
and no, but it's even like putting that to one side. You've got to. I think it comes to the point where you say, "Why are people here?" And this is what I've had to start asking myself recently because up until about maybe the 28th, 29th of November. 30 people average was normal. And now anywhere between 1 to 600 average is me.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know how fast chat used to scroll in 5 hours. Sometimes we might not even get 1,000 comments. Now I get about 1,000 comments in the first hour of every single stream.
Yeah, you can stop flexing on me now.
But no. But it gets to a point where you have to say to yourself, why are these people here? Why are they watching you? Is it because of gameplay? Is it because of humor? Is it because of a mixture of both? And I would consider myself a mixture of both.
Well, I wouldn't say it was for gameplay. Fucking hell.
Listen, Ben, you're fucking trash at the game. You watch me for tips. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Fuck off, I'll watch you for tips. I'll watch you on how to fucking sit there crouch spamming in a corner like, oh, look at me, I've got the newest shotgun. Oh, pew pew, yeah, fuck you, nerd.
All I'm saying is that shotgun fucking bangs, you absolute pussy.
Yeah, with a 10-year reload time, it fucking better.
Listen. Hear me out. This shotgun is the most fun I've had in Call of Duty in months. Just let me enjoy it, okay?
God, it's just like the fucking Origin meta all over again.
But this isn't a meta, and I never use the Origin. So ultimately, I'm not a scumbag yet. I've started it before I've started it before it became trendy. When it becomes trendy, I'll stop using it. Same as the Kilo. I used the Kilo from like season 1 up until it became meta. It became meta, and I switched to anything but the Kilo.
Yeah, but then you tried to flex on people like, oh, I was using the Kilo before it was cool.
I was,
but
I'm not going to flex about the
street
street sweeper, you fucking drip.
Use the AN-94 like a real man.
I've done a video on the AN-94. I dropped 22 kills in a quad game with the AN-94. I made a YouTube video on it.
It's never going to be meta. That's why you use it. Big balls. You just show people that you can still kill them even with a shit gun.
Ben, it got a silent buff. It's actually sick as fuck now. Okay. I want you to talk about how you see your stream and yourself progressing as a streamer over the next 2 years. That's what I want you to talk about. Is that while you go
for a piss?
Yes, it is.
I thought so.
I want to see you say how that is gonna, like, what your inspiration has been, where you want to reach, what your ultimate goals are.
I will happily talk.
I can't hear you because I'm going for a piss.
I know you can't hear me, but it's fine because everyone else can hear me. Sorry, boys, you're stuck with me for a while. I started streaming relatively recently. We're talking like a couple of months ago, and it was very on and off streaming. It was very much when my mate was streaming, I thought, fuck it, I'll stream as well. Why not? And it was very bare bones. It was like I get some of my mates in there, I get some of the people that I know. Sweet Fantasy, I have put my link in chat already. It's twitch.tv/poshmanchav. It's somewhere up there. I'll put it in there again. But I did tell you, shut up. So I started relatively recently, and at this point, I'm not sitting there expecting to get, hundreds of followers immediately, because it's a new venture, and I would rather do it. Yeah, it's now in the chat. The guy called Poshman Chav plugging his own Twitch. That's me. I'm very new to it. I don't want to sit there and scalp viewers off of Char. Relatively, he's put in the graft for all of this shit. The last thing I want to do is try and scalp shit off him. I must well appreciate a follow. But within the next year or so, at this point, it's still very much a hobby. It's still very much me fucking around. There's not really any professionalism to it. It's just a cockabout. It's just a bit of fun. And arguably, I want to keep it that way. I don't ever want to get to streaming to a point where I'm thinking, anything. Well, obviously streaming does get a bit more professional the further down the line you get. But if I can't keep that element of myself cocking around in stream there, like if people start coming to my stream expecting really good gameplay, that's just going to drive me up the wall, because I'm not good at games, but I like to think that people will tune in to see the fucking Klingon with the shitty light above him that seems to just take away all of his blonde hair. But the ginger beard still sticks. That's a good idea for a logo, actually. I could incorporate that somehow.
Already said it to you, Ben.
Yeah, I know. We just changed the silhouette so part of it's ginger around the chin. But yeah. It's ASMR book readings. Yeah.
As a whole, right? For you, obviously, you're currently studying a specialized topic at uni. You're studying something that is going to take however many more years to
Don't
finish,
remind me.
completion, etc. Now, is streaming for you going to be a potential? Because, like, I've seen other content creators that are in a similar point to your life, where they've been in college or school or whatever. Like, if they're Americans, college and school. If they're UK, they've been university. And they've either been a YouTuber or a streamer on the side, and it's paid basically for their tuition and their rent and stuff, and allowed them to live a better life at university. Is that what you're after? Are you after the financial gain at all? Be honest here. This is an open thing. These people are going to follow you anyway. They like you, Ben. Is that what you're after, or is what you're after just an escape, a bit of fun?
Okay, chat. I'm going to be entirely honest with you here with the financial side of Twitch. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
That's my entirely financial, side of it. I'm still getting student loan, and right now that's covering me fine. Yeah, I don't have a top-end PC rig, but I don't mind. I want to play games for fun. I want people to jump in chat.
Can you just comment your Twitch link again so I can pin it?
Yeah.
So like,
I'm not saying that out of a guys, come follow, come donate. I'm a poor uni student who's not asking for money. Here's the pity card again. No, I genuinely, I just want to fuck around. I want people to enjoy my stream and all of that. Really, realistically, I'm going to go through uni regardless of whether I can earn anything from Twitch or not. And I just want people to enjoy my stream, in the same vein that you want people to enjoy your stream. Sorry. I want people to come in and have a laugh. Put a smile on their face.
And I don't know if maybe I'm wrong or something like this, but from my experience, authenticity and being original and just being real with your audience is going to make you more money than sitting there saying, I want to make money. Because I've sat there and seen people at the same level as me at points that have had star goals, that have had X, Y, and Z, and have said, I want to become a full-time streamer, I want to become a professional gamer, whatever, I want to make this amount of money, and they've gone nowhere. At no point did I, and I don't know if this is because of that, or if this is because, without once again sounding arrogant, I'm just generally better at streaming than them. Either that be gameplay, because I've seen a lot of these people that are like, I want to make fucking $200 this month, that are fucking trash at the game and boring to watch, and I've given them the opportunity. I've literally sat there and said, I will watch you. I will watch you for like as long as I can stand, and 3 minutes in, I'm like, you're fucking boring. You've said nothing. You've done nothing. And even, like, it gets to a point, okay? So if I'm playing solos now, solos for me, for whatever reason, does best in numbers. Even if I'm dying off the rip, it just does best in numbers. I don't know why. It does. I hate it. Solos is draining.
Yeah.
And did you put the link in? Because I've not seen it.
I mean, I did, but I'll put it in again.
I can't see it. Put it in. I was very much, I've never streamed for money or anything like that. Blah, 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 blah. So, I still can't see
it. It's in there. Well,
send it to me on Discord and I'll... What is it?
Bless. I'm going for a slash then.
Okay. Again. You've broken the seal.
I've broken the seal. It's game over for me now.
Send it.
Yeah. All right. Back in a sec.
I think for me, like, I don't know if it's because I've been generally a better streamer or because I've been more authentic in the way that I've presented myself as a streamer, etc. But I've seen incredible growth in comparison to other people. Because of, I would like to consider it authenticity. I haven't sat there saying I want to make this much, I want to make that much, I want to do this with my life, I want to do that with my life. I had a goal in life, and that shit didn't work out. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm still just floating. I'm just vibing, slowly working my way along life. I don't really know what I'm doing at this point, but I'm doing something. And streaming became my outlet. It became a lifesaver for me. It became something where I went from a nobody to not necessarily a somebody but to somebody who felt, I don't know, something. Do you know what I mean? And I guess we'll cover this when we talk about mental health properly and how streaming has affected my mental health and stuff. Because I think it's a really interesting topic to cover. There are a few people who know about my history in terms of my background regarding my mental health, etc. I mean, Ben knows pretty much everything, but there are people who I've known for a long time who don't know about it because I've just not been open with them. Ben experienced pretty much everything alongside me, bar a couple of things that he still knows about regardless. And we will cover that in the mental health because I think it's important. And I like the fact that as a streamer, I can open up during these podcasts and I can say, this is what I'm going to talk about. Do you know what I mean? And then talk about it. And for the mental health thing, what I think we're going to do is we're going to cover X, Y, and Z topics, and we're going to put them into sections and say this is what we're talking about. If you don't want to listen to this part because it's going to touch a nerve, you skip. Blah blah blah. But I don't know, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for me, streaming has been an incredible outlet. It's been an opportunity for me to step back and say, this is who I am. This is what I am worth. This is what I am to me. And it's hard to put a price tag on what you're worth. And I think normal jobs will never do it justice. Same as streaming will never do it justice. I've seen streamers who are fucking incredible with fewer followers than me.
Well, yeah, you've seen me, and I'm amazing. That's the part where you're supposed to agree.
But, that aside, I have seen streamers who are fucking amazing at what they do, and they've got 200 followers. And then I've seen streamers who are fucking atrocious at what they do with 15,000 followers.
Oh, what, like that person who pays for
that's it. Yeah, that's, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's not the only person, but
yeah, no, I get that. Yeah,
they're
the first one that comes to mind.
And I just kind of sit there and I think to myself, why? Do you know what I mean? And just for everyone's bringing up mental health in chat, the way we're going to do it is we're going to pre-record it off camera. So because Ben and I are very easy to go onto a tangent, I can then edit out the parts that maybe we shouldn't talk about in front of people. Because Ben and I have both had very rocky roads in terms of mental health, and I don't want that to reflect badly in a stream, if that makes sense. I agree, normalize it, etc. But we will cover that. There's going to be like an hour or two long podcast drop in the next few days that people can then watch as and when they please, etc. You know what I mean?
We want to normalize it by doing this kind of talk. We want to normalize it because I think we're both in the same vein of it should be normalized.
Yeah.
So we want to do it, but we don't want to cock it up. Basically, we want to make it as professional as possible, and we don't want to make it with a topic like that where we can take it very seriously. The last thing we want to do is be cocking about with it.
Well, that's exactly the thing. I think one of the reasons that there's been a couple of, in terms of feedback regarding these podcasts, this is the third one so far, and on the first two, the feedback has been incredible. Even if we've only sat here at like 20 concurrent throughout, which to me doesn't feel like much now, And I hate saying that because it's 20 people that are taking their time out of their day to watch us for whatever reason. Fuck knows why. There are also people that have
interesting going on. It's just
there
us
are also
in our
people that have
bedrooms.
had us playing on in the background while they're doing things, having the stream on a repeat, etc., etc., etc. And I think that, and it was like when the Black Lives Matter was a really prominent subject. It was there. It was in your face. Everyone was talking about it. As people of influence, it was important to turn around and say, fuck racism. And that was all you had to say. Do you know what I mean? Because with people that follow you with like their heart and soul, someone just turning around, like myself potentially, there are people who are incredibly invested in everything that I say. I could turn around and I could say, I don't believe in this, and people then will follow me, and I don't know how I feel about that because that's a fucking bizarre feeling.
Yeah, that's fucking yeah.
And there are people that take every word you say as fucking gospel, and I really, in one aspect, I think, hey, that's pretty fucking cool, but in another aspect, I'm a bit like, I don't know how I feel about that. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's a weird one to me because as someone who I would consider at this point with some variation of influence, at least on a few people, if not a few thousand people, etc., I could potentially be changing someone's mindset on what they think about something. And as someone who has suffered from poor mental health, I've not really ever spoken about it much in stream, and it'll be something that we do cover in the podcast over the next few days. As someone who has suffered incredibly badly from it due to various different reasons, once again, we will cover that. I think when it comes down to your opinion as a creator, as someone with influence, you've got to tread lightly. And I never talk about politics on my stream, partially because I don't really take a political standpoint, but also because I know that politics causes fucking arguments, and whether you're right or wrong in your belief, or whether there is a right and wrong in your belief about politics or whatever, it's going to cause an argument. Someone's going to say, I think so-and-so should be in power, and the other person's going to say, I think so-and-so should be in power. And then all of a sudden, it's going to cause an argument, and a stream chat that's incredibly friendly and non-toxic turns into fucking World War III. And you've got to be careful of things like that, but ultimately, I think if you take the right standpoint, maybe, and you take, like, I'm not religious personally. I don't have any faith, but I don't preach that I don't have any faith. And if you were a Christian or a Muslim or a Sikh or whatever you are, if you came in my chat and you spoke about your beliefs, I would tell you to stop, because I don't believe, just because I don't believe in religion or I don't believe in any particular politics, I also don't believe you should force it upon people. And I don't think you should force your beliefs upon people, be it regardless of what they are. If you want to believe in X, Y, and Z, you fucking do that. Whether that be your fucking next president or prime minister or fucking world leader or whatever, you crack on, you believe that. If you want to believe in Jesus or in Allah or in whatever it is that you believe in, you crack on, you believe that. But if you bring it into a stream chat, which is essentially supposed to be a safe chat, primarily regarding gaming, of all things, it's irrelevant. I don't want it in there. And a lot of streamers won't either, because some people will feed off of the argument. You know what I mean? But to me, anyone that brings up politics, brings up even just current affairs in general. Like, I've had people come into chat and say, Rona isn't real. Anyone that's been a part of the streams for a little while knows that my granddad died of the coronavirus, and he was incredibly close to me. He was like a dad to me. And I've had fucking heated arguments on Facebook over that. Not in stream, as my personal profile. And on other social medias as well. But if you come in stream and tell me Rona isn't real, I'll just say to you, whatever. That will be my exact answer. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to sit there and argue with it about it while I'm trying to play COD and make people smile. Because me sitting there arguing about you believing over something that has been, as far as I'm concerned, factually proven to be real, it's just a bit like it's an irrelevant argument. It's like last week when we were talking about conspiracies and like flat Earth and stuff. You know, things like that are a bit different, but
well, yeah,
you know, you come in and you tell me your belief of whatever. It's like I don't give a shit. Do you know what I mean? I really don't give a shit.
It's not, as someone said, it's not a fun subject. It's not something really that it's not. It's not going to make anyone laugh. It's not going to give anyone joy. It might give the one wanker joy who's come in to try and bait you into, you know, arguing with them or some shit. But aside from that, it's not going to give anyone else joy. So arguably, it's just not really worth it.
That's exactly the thing, isn't it?
That's it. It's just not worth it. That's the long and short of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about something where we can have an actual, you know, debate, an actual conversation about it, like, you know, donation goals.
Yeah.
Actual conversation,
you know what I mean?
Because we both hold different standpoints on it, and it's not something where either of us, you know, it's not
going to cause an argument. Like,
yeah.
If Ben believed in some variation of religion and I said I don't believe in it, I'm not going to fall out with Ben over it. But I know for a fact that because of keyboard warriors, it's so easy to have an argument over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's fucking sad. It really is. It's fucking sad. Yeah. And it's sad that people think that because they're behind a keyboard, they're entitled to think whatever it is that they think and force that and belittle other people for not believing the same just because they're behind a keyboard and no one can do shit about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Much.
As far as I'm concerned, whether it's in my chat or anyone else's chat, if you go and chat and you're being a cunt to someone, you deserve every piece of shit that you get in exchange.
Oh yeah, trust me. Yeah.
Because
if you're being a wanker and the streamer then turns around, pulls up all of the previous chats that you've sent, and it just shows you being an absolute bellend for the past 3 streams, then I think that everyone has full entitlement to laugh at you because you've 100%. Been a dick.
100%. If you want to be a cunt and you get treated like a cunt, and then take it back, and you're like,
yeah,
shut the fuck up. You're just a hypocrite, mate. Do you know what I mean?
A valiant attempt, but you're still a bellend.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's no.
I mean, like Heather said, politics in America right now is a shit show, to say the least, and I will say no more than that.
We'll leave it there.
There's some very heavy divisions regarding who and what standpoints and whatever. And it's just like, I've had people come in chat and they've said, say Trump 2020 or 2021, whatever the fuck it is. And I'm like, stop it. And they're like, why? And I'm like, just don't bring it up in chat. Because you might believe that, but someone else doesn't believe that. And I know full well that there's going to be some other American in chat that believes in fucking Biden or something, and it's going to cause a fat off argument. Don't do it. Delete the comment. Yeah. And then I've had to argue with them myself over the fact that I don't want politics in my stream. Do you know what I mean?
And that's the worst part, because then you've ended up engaging in it and you've ended up giving them exactly what they want, and you just sit there like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? I ignore it. Someone else gives into it.
Exactly.
I take it and tell them to fuck off, and then they've got exactly what they want.
Exactly. You can't. And it's funny because the 2 people that I know that are in chat that are American are both admitting as well it's the worst conversation you can have with an American ever.
Yeah.
And now I don't know either of their political standpoints, and I'd prefer if neither of them put it in this chat either, because once again, this is I would consider this chat a very friendly one. If you come in chat and you make a hate video about 2 old mans bullying you, you're gonna get a very interesting response. But you know,
what's bellend? I'm an ignorant American. Bellend is like
tip of your penis.
Yeah, a helmet. But again, that won't translate either. God, what do they say in America?
I don't know what they call it in America. Heather, what do you call a bellend in America?
Yeah,
it's the head underneath your foreskin.
Yeah, it is. It's the head of the penis. There you go. We're giving an anatomy lesson.
All right. So have we got anything else to cover in terms of Journeys of Restrict? Actually, there's one thing that I would like to cover as Halfordsucks.
Well, I'm not exactly going to stop you, am I? Yeah.
Fuck me, daddy.
Go on then.
And that would be what the future of the page is and how I want to progress the content. Because we've covered ultimately the most of the past. I think we've missed parts out from drinking and tangents.
But it wouldn't be a beers and bullshit podcast if we didn't miss out a hell of a lot by just drunk tangents. So don't worry, it's fine. It's a trademark. It's a feature. It's a feature.
it's lovable bullshit, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of future for Halfordsucks as a brand, as me as an individual, as company, whatever you want to fucking call it, as me as an individual, the next step for me is my granddad's annex that he lived in before he passed. He's always said to me, I want you to turn it into an office. So over the course of the next few months, I'm going to be turning that into an office. But I'm also going to be setting up my own company, probably something along the lines of Halfordsucks Media. And hopefully within the next year, we'll be able to employ Pud full time. I'll be able to say to Pud, quit your job and come and work for me. That's the next. They're the next big goals for me. Build the new office and employ Pud full time. And then on top of that, I want to be able to help people that have helped me. Do you know what I mean? And Ben is a prime example of this. One of the things that I'm going to be doing when I upgrade my graphics card is selling mine to Ben for very cheap in comparison to the market value. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be like, if I could genuinely afford to just turn around and say, Ben, have this, I would. Unfortunately, at this point in time, I can't. But I'm looking forward to one day being able to say to Ben, I need some new sub stickers made. Here's $1,000. You've got a week. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, fuck. There go all my assessments straight out the window.
Listen,
well, shit,
all
boys,
I'm saying is I did all of the current ones in a week. You can do it in a week for $1,000. You'll be fine.
All right, big man. You haven't got a fucking university degree to just tack on to the end of that, though, have you?
No, but actually, yeah, Hannah, I'm going to have to message you about tax advice because...
Oh, don't. She's shit at tax advice. She doesn't even understand what a tax is. She doesn't even... Well, okay, right. Here's some tax advice for you, right? Digestive biscuits, no tax. Milk chocolate digestive biscuits, tax. There you go. There's tax advice for you.
Business.
There's your business. Buy digestives. You don't have to pay tax on them.
Okay, buddy. But ultimately, one of the things that I want to work on is taking my friends who have been here with me through all of this and have taken nothing from the business itself, would be, I want to give them a job. Whether that be a part-time job for someone like Ben, who's going through university, and I can say to him, Ben, I need X, Y, and Z done. Do this for me. I'll give you X amount of money. Whether that be for that, or whether it be for someone like Pud, who hopefully I'll at some point be able to pay a full-time wage to work for me full-time, to be my assistant, to be my whatever it is that we end up calling it. And blah, blah, blah. I want to be able to help the people that have helped me, and I'm currently at a point where I can do that. To some extent, there are people that have helped me for a lot of it that have found themselves in some financial trouble, and because I'm incredibly careful with money, and I've saved a lot of money because I don't understand taxes, and I wanted to make sure I have more than enough money for my taxes, I've been able to say, here's a couple £100. Just pay it back by April, because that's when my tax is due, I think.
God, really showing that tax knowledge coming through. I think it's April. I don't fucking know. It's sometime around then.
I'd be lying if I said I know for sure. So, things like that. But as for the future of Halford Sucks, one thing I really want to do is continue growing the YouTube, especially. The YouTube is going to be the next big goal for me. Short term, the next goals are Discord partner. They are YouTube partner, or at least monetizable on YouTube. And I think they're my next two short-term goals, is to reach Discord partner and then to get monetized on YouTube as well. I would like that to become the next sort of level of in the business. On top of the office and building the new office and setting up as a proper company as opposed to just being self-employed. Because I feel like actually a proper company is less complicated than self-employed at this point, because I have no idea how self-employment works.
That's a good point though for anyone starting streaming, and I've done the same thing. Char did the same thing from the beginning. Don't set yourself unrealistic goals.
Yeah.
You know, even to this day, Halford Sucks is sitting here with thousands of followers, you know, hundreds of likes every stream, but he's not sitting there setting himself a goal of, right, next month I want 1 million followers and, you know, 500,000 in my bank account. Set yourself realistic goals, otherwise you're just going to let yourself down, and then you're going to lose the drive for streaming, and then it's all just going to go down.
I think that also applies to anything in life, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Because I spent the first 18 years of my life wanting to be a Marine, and that was a very realistic goal until certain points in my life happened, including my leg, some of which I won't divulge in, but ultimately the biggest part was my leg. And it was a realistic goal, but it also went out the window. Have a plan B, have a backup option, and like this, you're hearing life advice from two fucking 20-year-olds at this point, but...
Shut up, I'm 47.
Believe me when I say it's two 20-year-olds who have been through a lot more shit than you would ever imagine. Have a plan B, have a backup option, have another plan. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Why do you think we're working on YouTube at the minute? Because what if like Mixer, Facebook Gaming falls flat on its fucking face? Where do I go? What do I do? Do I have to go? Because I can tell you for a fucking fact, if I had to go and work for someone else now, and they told me to do a job, my answer would be fuck off. Because I cannot imagine working for an individual that isn't myself now. I genuinely can't. And that sounds really shitty, because I know so many people that work for companies or individuals that do whatever it is that they do for jobs, and that is 90% of people. I can now no longer imagine working for someone else, because I've spent the last 8 months working for myself. If someone told me what to do now, they would flat out get the answer of fuck off.
But relatively, you've put in the graft enough to be able to earn that, right? I suppose, you know.
At the moment, but say streaming falls flat on its face.
Yeah,
say for whatever reason, in 2 months' time, I go back to having 10 viewers and making $500 a month. That's not enough to keep me afloat. That won't even cover my fucking bills.
Right, then you can come and work for me when I'm making sick prosthetics. You could be working on the reception desk. When you're making sick prosthetics, yeah, in 5 years' fucking time, when you've eventually finished your uni course, bro. Do one.
What do I do? I was actually talking to my mum about this, and we had this conversation about what if streaming falls flat on its fucking face, and there is every eventuality that it could. What happens then? And you know what I said to her? I was like, I cannot work for someone else. I would rather spend the next 50 years of my life until retirement bouncing between owning company to company, potentially making 10 grand at a time to it then falling flat on its face. I would rather fucking do that than work for anyone else at this point. Yeah. Because I cannot imagine for the fucking life of me what it would be like again for someone to tell me to go and unblock a toilet or to do this. I would just have to start a different business. I don't know what it would be, but it would be something.
Drive though. It's drive.
Is it drive, or is it just fucking arrogance? Not wanting to work for someone else is just because
Take your pick.
This is a thing, trying to branch out to other platforms like YouTube, etc. And OnlyFans as well, www.onlyfans.com/Halfordsucks.
Actually,
things like that.
Let's plug that as well. Onlyfans.com/a big floppy meme. That's me. I actually have an OnlyFans. I would like to point this out. You can go and follow. It's free. I'll be making my paid account soon. But no, that is a genuine account you can go and follow. So, get on that. Go and follow the OnlyFans. Big content ideas coming.
On my way. But, it's, I don't know. There's like so much that I want to do ultimately as long-term goals. Like a long-term goal for me, and this is a long-term one. This isn't really something that I've publicly said. I would love to be able to commission a load of music artists to make a load of copyright-free music for me that I can then upload to Spotify as copyright-free for creators to use. And there are people that have done this before me. This isn't a completely original idea, but there are genres that haven't been touched upon yet that I would love to be the person to fulfill. Because I love rock music. That would be the music that I'd want to fill out. And no one's done that yet. And that's something that I would like to do. And I looked at prospective costs into hiring bands and artists to do that sort of shit. And I'm looking at like sort of 10, 15 grand. And that's 10, 15 grand that I haven't got at this point. So this is a long-term goal. And then there's the goals of like, there's personal goals. Like, my dream car? It's a fucking Jag, mate. I would love to buy a Jag. And one day, I firmly believe I will have enough money to buy a Jag. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that isn't something I plan on doing in the next year. That's something I plan on maybe doing in the next 10 to 20 years. Because it's always been me wanting a Jag. That's been one of my biggest goals. It's just me wanting a Jag. I'd love to be able to buy both of my parents out of the mortgage, and say I own the house, and then say, this is it. I've covered the mortgage. I've bought the mortgage out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know how much that's going to cost, how long that's going to take to make that amount of money. Blah 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 blah. If I knew, I would fucking work towards that, but I don't know. I guess like working towards fucking like 200 grand or whatever it would work out to be is expensive. Do you know what I mean? Also, Jamie, E-type. If you say anything other than E-type, you're a psychopath.
Let me just go search that. Oh yeah, you're thinking of the right one.
The old E-type Mac 1, mate.
If you take anything other than that, you are just statistically wrong.
Honestly, E-type Mac 1.
Yeah.
It's the way to get me horny, bro. Like if you want to give me a rod on E-type Mark 1, mate.
That car is mustard. Absolute hot as shit. Love it.
But they're like my personal goals.
Yeah.
In terms of business goals, one of the last things I said to my granddad is I'm going to keep this going for as long as I fucking can until I get as far as I possibly fucking can. And I will take the memory of you with me. And that was the morning he died. I spoke to him about 20 minutes before he died. That was one of the things that I said to him. And that will stick with me forever because it really will. He was incredibly close to my heart. And I will take that with me. And that is one of my drives now. Speaking about motivation, my motivation isn't money or anything like that. It's about partially me being a cocky prick and wanting to prove everyone wrong that said I would never be able to do it, but also me wanting to, someone who was an incredibly successful man, almost wanting to outdo the fucker. Do you know what I mean? When he owned his business, he was amazing. He was incredibly successful. Everything he did was with fluency and affluency, and he was incredibly good at what he did. And because I looked up to him, I want to be either on the same level or better than that motherfucker, because he always believed in me, and because he believed in me, I believe in myself. Do you know what I mean? And because of that, he was also an incredibly nice man, and he would put up anyone else that needed it. And that's one of the reasons why I want to be able to like employ my mates and give them as best a wage as I can possibly offer. Do you know what I mean? And I guess, I don't know, I think one of the things that maybe a lot of streamers do, especially in smaller, even my level or smaller or even bigger than me, whatever, at any level of streaming, it's really easy to compare yourself to someone else. And I've done that. I really have done that. I have an F-Type as my weekend card. Should I unsubscribe? No, Danny. I'll take your F-Type for now.
For now.
Take it off your hands for now. Yeah, no worries, Rose. Run anything by me whenever you want. But I don't know. I compare myself to myself. I look at myself 6 months ago and I say, who was I then? Who am I now? What's changed? What have I done better? What have I done worse?
Still a virgin.
Well, you know, that part's irrelevant. But but like I say to myself, 6 months ago, I might have been in a creative rut. I might have been having a really shit time mentally. I might have been having this, and this, struggling to start a stream every day because I was nervous. And I would be lying if I didn't say that every time I click that go live button, I didn't shit my fucking pants. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you get the same thing at the moment, Ben, but
you're telling me I'm fucking just starting. I get that it hasn't really changed for you, but
no, but it's weird because I'm more nervous now than I ever used to be at first.
I tell you what, this is a good conversation for the mental health stream, actually.
What is? About nerves and streaming?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can cover that. Well, not when we finish up, we'll finish up in a minute, Ben, and we'll talk about what we want to cover tomorrow, and we'll start getting that recording done. Ideally, we can knock that out in a full recording. But I guess, you know, 6 months to a year ago, I had nothing to fucking lose, nothing to gain. Now, when I can potentially have 300 people out of an intro watching me, I have something to fucking lose. I have something to be scared of. I have something that I have put my heart and soul in for the last 15 months for it to fall flat on its face and fuck me over with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, shit, okay.
I need to listen to that song as soon as I
yeah, so do I. But it is. It's that snap to reality of that point where you realise, hold on a minute, this is no longer just a hobby and just me cocking about. I am actually making a difference to people.
Yeah. It's not only that, I'm making a difference to myself as well. And
you
know, as someone who has known me incredibly closely for a good period of time, you know that one of the things that I was always scared of was my own fucking failure. And that's one of the things that has scared me most in this world is failing myself. It's failing what I always thought I would be, and I always thought I was going to be a fucking Marine. And when that didn't come to fruition, my life got turned upside down. You know what I mean? I'm a big... I mean, is it an alcoholic if you consider yourself an alcoholic? I don't know. I drink way too much alcohol than I should.
The first stage is acceptance.
I would definitely consider myself someone who drinks too much at this point in my life. I'm 20 years of age and I haven't gone without a drink in a couple of weeks at this point. I won't normally admit that, but I cut myself some slack, admittedly, because for me, I've been through an incredible shit 2 months. Despite like everything blowing up for the channel for me, my general life has been at an all-time low. Do you know what I mean? I've never felt, and it's not like sad. It's not like depressed even. It is just sad. It's like a deep sadness that overwhelms. It overwhelms me every day. I wake up every morning and I kind of don't know what to do with myself, but in the same time have 1,000,001 things that I want to do. And it's this fucking feeling that you can't explain. And we will go more into depth with that with the mental health talk. I don't want to go too much into depth with that now because I know for a fact that Ben and I will definitely talk.
Have a breakdown.
Well, have a breakdown, yeah, and like at least if we start crying in the mental health one, we can crop it out.
That's true.
But that's going to be coming over the next few days as something that will be playbackable. It's going to be like a video that I post as opposed to a video that's live. But you know, it's one of those things that is just, it's a bizarre feeling. Do you know what I mean? I compare myself to myself the day before every day. And I don't know, I guess I scare myself sometimes. I scare myself looking at someone like Ben because Ben and I 4 years ago were in the same place. Well, this is the thing. Ben and I 4 years ago were in the same place, and he, no disrespect, didn't know what he was going to do. And I did.
Oh, I still don't worry. Fucking hell.
Well, I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you had a straight path. You were dead set.
Exactly.
I mean, everyone gave you props for that.
Well, except the teachers, they hate me because I didn't want to go to university.
Yeah, basically, it was like, fuck, the government's going to give us no money because he's not going to uni. Shit, what a dickhead.
But this is the funny thing. I compare myself to someone like Ben, who in 5 years' time is going to potentially have an incredibly secure job paying a lot of money. And I don't know where I'm going to be next month, let alone in 5 years' time. Do you know what I mean? And that scares the living shit out of me. And although I don't like to compare myself to some people, like but in the same token, I then look at people that we went to school with who, because we went to a posh school, Ben and I were ridiculed for smoking. Because we were the first people that would smoke
and BMXing.
Exactly. We lived
doing all the degenerate shits, basically.
Exactly. And now everyone that we went to school with goes to university, blowing their fucking minds out on coke and other shit fucking drugs every weekend, doing stupid shit. And I'm out here making in, maybe 2 months what they're spending in an entire term for a student loan. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's fucking crazy to me. That is fucking crazy to me. It's like these people that actually studied and actually did well in school, and I'm just sat there like, I rode my bike throughout all of it, and I'm like, damn. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, go fuck yourself. But how long is this going to last? Because I don't know. I don't know.
The way I will always describe it is high risk, high reward.
Maybe. But is it? It's high risk. It's high risk and higher risk as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, right. High risk, high risk.
Yeah, like there is a very high chance of reward. There is a very high chance that in 6 months' time I could be making 20 grand a month. There is all eventualities for that. There is a chance that in 6 months' time, Ben, this podcast could be the biggest podcast in YouTube. And me and you sitting here talking pure fucking shit every night could be making us fucking thousands every month. There is every eventuality behind that, right? But there is also every eventuality that the thing that is funding basically all of this, that is funding the PC that runs this, things like that, is going to fall flat on its face. And I'm going to be left in a shit spot with no job, no money, and fucking no prospects because I didn't go to uni. I flunked all of my fucking A-levels. I've worked in a shit job. Aside from this, the job that I worked in was shit. Like, I don't have prospects really outside of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But,
and that scares me, man.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that it scares you, but I suppose, looking at it from an outsider's perspective, I'd say you're doing a bang tidy job. There we go. I'm appealing to the older audience now because
bang tidy. I missed that word, bro. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Bang tidy was a banging word.
Trust me. Well, 2 words, but who's counting?
No, it's hyphenated, isn't it?
That doesn't make it 1 word.
Hyphenated. It's like a word and a half.
Still not 1, is it? You round up, don't you, with a half?
No, because I'm pedantic and I don't round.
So it's a word and a half. It's not 1 word, is it?
It's not 2 words either.
Okay, so we'll just say I'm right and you're wrong. But
we'll just say we're both wrong.
No, I think we'll just say I'm right and you're wrong. But the point is, I'd say so far you're fucking smashing it. I think, yes, as much as, no one's going to fucking blame you for having that fear of next month, this could all fall down.
Can we just think, Ben, 3 months ago, the hours that you and I spent in phone calls about graphic design on how to make the stream potentially more appealing to a newer audience. And I know for a fact you heard the fucking panic in my voice regarding how fucking scared I was and how fucking, how petrified I was that I'd just quit my job a couple of months before and everything in 2 months had been flushed down the plug hole. And like almost a year of fucking hard work and like grinding for hours and hours and hours had just turned from something that looked like it was going to become relatively successful, felt like a year's worth of work had been flushed down the drain. And Ben was one of the few people that I spoke to about this and how panicked I was, and Elle can vouch for this as well. Elle was in a lot of the conversations with me about how fucking scared I was. And maybe that's why I'm so scared now, because the channel's doing so well at the minute that in a month's time, I don't know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
I think that's worth bringing into the next episode. It's
anxiety.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay to be scared.
Yeah. I guess so.
It's natural. Yeah, the natural instinct of it is, why the fuck am I scared? I shouldn't be. I need to man up and deal with it. But the other end of that is, there's nothing wrong with it inherently. It makes sense. Yeah. It's a statistical thing.
Yeah. I think, should we round it out with any questions that chat has?
Yeah, no, let's round it out. Chat, if you've got any questions, feel free to sling them in. If you've got any questions,
sling them in and we'll answer them as best as we can. I'm just going to go back up and catch up anything. I have a great podcast idea. Sit Lewis down and watch all of his DEFCONs in one stream. I kind of like it. It's fucking losing his shit. There's time limit on finding what you want to do in life. I think it is definitely. I think that ultimately, if you know what you want to do, you're fully capable of achieving that whatever age, and I'm a firm believer of that. My dad has recently in the last couple of years, found an incredible love for photography, and he's good at it as well. He's really good at it as well.
I have something to add there, actually. Poppy said, I'm 31 and I still want to go to uni and become a midwife. Honestly, as much as it is an age-old saying, it's never too late.
Yeah.
My sister's studying psychology at some fancy ass uni. I'm not going to mention it. And there is someone in her year, which is year 1, and she's 61, I think, and she's studying psychology as well. So I'd say if you have the drive and you really want to do it, and you think, right, well, I think this is my calling kind of thing, then I say, why not go for 100%. It? I mean, some of my best mates I made at uni last year were 27 and 33, and they were studying mechanical engineering, and I love them. I still talk to them to this day. They're fucking great. So if you want to, go for it. No one's going to stop you, and if anything, everyone's going to look up to you more for it, for 100%. Having that drive in life.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's like my dad is an incredibly skilled photographer. And he's an incredible gardener as well. He has an eye for making whatever garden you have look amazing. And that sounds bizarre, but I've kind of inherited off him as well. I did a lot of private landscaping as well. And I've done it since being full-time streaming as well to make up some of the money that I've done. I was a commissioned artist for a while, things like that. And he has this eye for photographs where he can take a photograph, and whatever it is that he's taking a photograph of, that shit looks incredible. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a photo somewhere. I have like a hard copy of it. It was like a dandelion, and he held it up against the sun and took a photo of it, and it looks amazing. It's something so simple, but I would never have thought to do that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
no. I mean, I have full respect for people with what's that? The right side of the brain, which is like the creative side.
Yeah.
If you have that creative part of your brain, fucking use it.
Yeah, 100%.
I know you have it as well because like you were really into your art, and as much
Yeah.
as the teachers deemed it as, what did they deem it as, childish or something?
Useless.
Your final project, which
No,
was a load of tap.
yeah, because I did. I actually took. It was the one time I've ever taken a political standpoint on anything,
Yeah.
and it was art of all things as well. They turned around and said, "This is childish. This won't get you any good grade." And I mean, I came away with an A. Admittedly, if I'd have done something correct, it would have been an A star. But
Yeah, but I think if you have that creative side of your brain, definitely take advantage of it because
100%.
there's loads of people in the world like me who are very left side dominant. So we're very logical to the point. I mean, why the hell do you think I'm taking engineering? I like maths and I fucking hate English. But if you have that ability to be creative, I say definitely take advantage of it, even if it's just as a hobby or a pastime. It's so much more like rewarding, I suppose. But that's my personal opinion.
I don't know, because I've had like I'd consider myself pretty split down the two. Like academically,
yeah.
Once again, without sounding arrogant, I'd consider myself academically gifted. I've never had to work for any of the accolades that I've achieved in terms of academics, and I've done incredibly well in all of the subjects that I took at school. And I never worked for any of that. And I did a lot better than everyone else at school who did work for that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you know why? It's because we're street smart. We're not book smart.
But street smart doesn't translate to book smart, as book smart doesn't translate to street smart. Me knowing not to walk out in front of a car or some shit like that doesn't translate to quarks having flavors in physics. Do you know what I mean?
No, but street smart means that you know how to wrangle your way out of a physics lesson so you can go down the grit box for a ciggy. You know what I mean? Like,
all I'm saying is it's before GCSEs, I wrangled my way out of every fucking revision session I possibly could and fucking smoked through it. And this was like before you and I were really friends.
Yeah.
And I still wrangled my way out of every fucking lesson.
Yeah.
And did incredibly well at fucking GCSE despite not showing up to any of it. Do you know what I mean?
Sounds about right.
And I don't know. I don't think that translates to anything other than, once again, without sounding arrogant, natural intelligence. Do you know what I mean? And I think you and I are both pretty gifted with that. And I know you'll disagree with me in terms of yourself, but you are gifted.
Oh, yeah, because I can't take a fucking compliment for my life.
But you are gifted naturally in terms of how clever you are as a person. Because there are people that I know that have worked their fucking bollocks off to be able to do well at school and have done atrociously. And you and I flunked everything and did really well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I also never ever listened to anything in art, but I could produce an art piece that, was fucking amazing. And there are still pieces that I hold on to this day, that are very near and dear to my heart because they meant something to me when I made it. But anytime anyone sees it, they're like, holy fuck, Char. And I'm like, what? And they're like, that's crazy. And I'm like, nah, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I did this out of coffee and ink. What do you mean that's crazy? It's I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, I guess one part about being a person is taking compliments is fucking difficult, or at least not difficult, but weird. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's like, it's, even though you want to take compliments from as many people as possible, you kind of can't do that at the same time.
Well, it's almost like, even though you want to be proud of your achievements and proud of what you've done, you also don't want to look like a dickhead. And that want to not look like a knob end takes over the ability of wanting to be proud and happy with what you've done. So you end up saying, no, do one,
100%, 100%. It's a fucking bizarre feeling. It really is. It really, really is. I'm actually looking forward to us two covering mental health because I think it's going to be an incredibly interesting topic.
Definitely.
And I think, you and I have sat here and spoke for hours upon hours. There's going to be so much footage and so much editing for me to do. But I think it will work out really well in the end. And I think it'll be really interesting to see people's thoughts on what we say as well.
Yes, definitely.
Because I can safely say I see a lot of streamers who are open advocates for mental health and will help support it and things like that, but I don't know many of them that will openly talk about their own.
Yeah.
If any at all. You know what I mean?
Which I kind of get, because I think there's almost a stigma against showing a weakness as a streamer, because then it gives people that kind of, how do I put it?
Fuel.
It sort of shows your Achilles heel.
Yeah.
And it's whether you can show it and effectively be proud of it and say, hey, look, this is who I am, or whether you want to sort of say, I'm not going to bother because I can't be asked with the aggro from it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, chat, if you haven't got any other questions.
Wait, hold on. What's the best for editing videos? Premiere Pro, 100%. Adobe Premiere Pro.
Yeah. I've used Sony Vegas, and I've seen Char use Premiere Pro, and Christ, it's so much more intuitive.
Yeah, it's intuitive, and the abilities that it gives you as well. Yeah, I've used multiple free editing softwares, and they're shit. I would rather just spend the £30 a month to edit a video properly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Knob end. A knob end is the same as a bell end.
Yeah.
The end of your knob.
The helmet. God, we're really just educational geniuses, aren't we?
Do you use Procreate for logos? The way I make any of my designs or logos is normally it will start off. I'm gifted with my hands. In terms of like I would consider myself a good artist.
Phrasing.
Excuse me.
No, never mind. Okay,
excuse me. I would consider myself.
You said I'm gifted with my hands. I say phrasing. Job done.
Listen, just because we all know that the best hand job you've ever had was from me. Let it go.
No, all right. Hannah's in chat. Don't offend her.
Sorry, Daddy as well. You know who I'm talking. And and so when it comes to logos, I normally any designs that I have or anything that I want to draw up, like all of the sub stickers that are currently there, were drawn up by the current sub stickers were all drawn up by me by hand first. Whether that was an incredibly rough sketch or a fine design that I then recreated in Photoshop, it was all drawn up by hand by me first and then taken to Photoshop and progressed on to there in a digital design. And the first round of sub stickers as well were all done like that as well. And I mean, if I open this up, you guys should be able to see this. And I take pictures.
Someone else has asked, who is your daddy? My daddy is Char. I'm pretty sure his daddy is me. It's a two-way relationship.
The
it works quite well.
Part is she's asking who my daddy is. She is my daddy.
It's me. Oh, well, that's just quite unfortunate. Well, now I just feel like a dick, don't I? I might as well just fucking leave. Well, see how it is. Love's not reciprocated.
You know I love you, Ben. It's not as my daddy. You're my uncle. So all of these stickers that you're seeing here, these are all stickers that I designed myself. And these all started with a hand-drawn initial drawing / sketch, blah, blah, blah. And then all of the stickers here are ones that Ben did on Photoshop. These were the original support stickers.
Yeah. Oh, no.
A lot of them started as hand-drawn sketches or basic designs that I then sent to Ben that he then put in.
All of them started as sketches, though, didn't they?
In some variation.
Either you'd send them across or I'd send some across to you saying, what do you think about this? And then from there, it would be a case of, then going into Photoshop and cocking around with it.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot to it. Do you know what I mean? There really was a lot to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a simple fact of, Ben, these are the ideas that I want. I mean, things like BDE, this BDE sticker, we spent fucking hours doing. Do you remember screen sharing it with me?
Yeah, and with the fucking Photoshop that would just occasionally zoom in for no reason. Yeah.
We spent hours doing this, and the prick one as well. We spent hours doing this as well.
Yep.
Camper. Ben actually knocked. There was no sketch behind this. Ben knocked Camper up himself.
I'm still proud of Camper. I still love that one.
And the cooked one as well. The cooked one, still to this day, is one of my favourites. It's been I recreated it again since, but this was.
Yes, you have.
The cooked one was my initial favourite one that we ever did.
I'm glad with the cooked one that you kept the same sort of hat design.
Ben, do you know how I recreated
out.
the cooked one? I took the exact same hat, added a bit more detail to it, and went from there.
Yeah, I thought so.
If you look at the hat on cooked, it's the exact same hat with a couple of lines, a bit of extra detail. The shading's all the same, and then I put some smoke behind it and a black circle. That's it. I just took the skull away. That was basically the big part of it. But like all of these are designed by me, initially by hand, either through full sketch or full shading. And then these were all designed by Ben, either through initial sketch sent to Ben for a picture, blah, 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 and elaborated on from Ben saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then he'd send me designs and blah, 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 blah. And it just went from there. Like the vibing sticker was another one that he just made off the rip. It was just a casting couch with vibing written across it. And it just stuck. Yeah. He sent it to me and I fell in love with it. I was like, Ben, this is like the best thing ever. But like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, there's so many things. Like, I'm not going to show this folder because this shows like all of the drawings and stuff regarding what went into my head when I made everything, and where I got like some of it wasn't necessarily drawn by hand. It was a stock image that I then changed, things like that. But you know, like if you look at this is what all of the big ones look like themselves. This is all of the current sub stickers, and there are a couple more that I'm going to make. But you can see like an artistic style behind each one. So I don't know. It's a weird thing.
I think it's insane to think how far you've come, but we should probably leave it there unless chat has anything to add, or unless you want anything to add with how far you've come and how insane it feels to be going from. It just it feels fucking. I mean, it feels surreal. Hundreds.
You know this yourself, Ben. You've played with me when I had 0 people watching, and now you've played with me since I've had hundreds of people watching.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it feels as someone who's been along for the ride, but I know for myself, it's a fucking bizarre feeling. And like one thing that I say, when first tournament I ever competed in, I peaked at 80 people watching. 7 days later, I competed in the same tournament, and I peaked at over 800 people watching. Put that into perspective, what 7 days can do. How big a difference 7 days can change your life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what Photoshop do we both use Adobe Photoshop.
Yeah. I think if you want to use the one for the iPad, well, not the one for the iPad, sorry. I'm pretty sure iPad has its own software to use, which to my knowledge is actually quite good. So if you're doing it on iPad, sorry, we don't have much advice for that. But
Ben and I both use desktop. We both use Adobe Photoshop. Ben has a stolen version. I have the legit version.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That's
fucking
about
FBI is going to shut down the stream now. That's game over for me.
I wish I'd found you sooner, Charlie. It's fine. You found me now. You found us now. I say me. I say me very loosely. When I say me, I mean me, the team, everyone that's been behind me throughout the whole. It's not just me. I'm the face you see. Yes, okay, I do 90% of the work, but the other 10% of the work would never get done if it wasn't for people like Ben and Pud and Elle. Do you know what I mean? They've been massive fucking parts of the stream for either the entire time or a long time. That just I can't even begin to fault. Do you know what I mean? Because in the times of creative ruts and points where I haven't known what direction I want to take the page in. I haven't known what direction I want to take the stream, the channel.
We've always been here to back you up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think 3 hours in, it's a good place to end, Ben, don't you?
I think it is.
All right. Well,
I shall leave the send off with you.
It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. And it's been a pleasure talking pure shit and getting pissed again. And I'm sure Ben and I will do the same thing tomorrow, although maybe we won't drink tomorrow because of the subject.
Yeah.
Just to keep it a bit easier to keep it tame. So there's less editing to do. But tomorrow, basically, Ben, Elle, Pud, and myself are all gonna sit in a call and we're gonna talk about it, because I want to give perspectives of a university student, someone who works in a general job, a teacher, and a public figure. You're not going to get 4 more diversified lifestyles than that. We're going to talk as the four of us about mental health, and I'm going to go through and edit it, put it into sections, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's going to be a good video for people to watch or listen to. The watch side of it will be incredibly irrelevant because it's just going to be us four, sitting there staring at screens like, I've been sad. This is what it's going to be. But it will be uploaded within the next few days. You'll hear about it. I'll obviously talk about it. I don't know how long that shit's going to take to edit. Probably quite a long time. But that's fine. It will be enjoyable.
It'll be fine.
And hopefully it will be something that is an eye opener to people that emotions are okay at least. You know what I mean? But on that note, it's been another fucking cracking podcast. I hope that the feedback from this one is as positive as it has been on the other two, because I've had a lot of fun. Once again, if you have any suggestions, there's a channel in the Discord. Go and comment it in there or at me in any of the other channels, and I'll probably see it. If not, one of the mods or someone else will pick up on it and let me know. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about, what you want to hear us cover, because Ben and I are incredibly creative, but yes, even we run out of ideas at some point. Please feed us ideas. And, we will see you all in the next one. If you tune into the Facebook streams tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, we might see you in the next podcast or in Discord or whenever. Regardless, I appreciate you. Ben?
Yes, I appreciate you all as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Last few hours.
Thank you very much. Once again, don't just suck it, suck it. We need to come up with a cool catchphrase for booze and bitching or booze and bullshit.
Fucking ass.
Let me check the logo so I don't fuck it up. And we'll go from there. We'll make a cool catchphrase for that as well. But regardless, we'll catch you all in the next one. Big love, peace out, and goodbye. Safe. Thank you very much. Another